Dish Falk Field in Austin, Texas plays host to the opening round of the 2006 NCAA baseball tournament. 4 teams will compete here this weekend, but just one emerges as regional champ. And that team will make the Super Regionals next weekend for a shot at the 60th College World Series. We start our double elimination event with Stanford against NC State. The second game sees the host Texas, the third national seed in this tournament, taking on Texas Arlington. The defending national champs start their 06 title run at about 4 o'clock Eastern time today. Welcome, college baseball fans, to Austin, deep in the heart of Texas. A sweltering day. Looking forward to baseball. Dave Ryan, Kyle Peterson alongside. Kyle, we have 4 very good teams here. The defending champs led by their head coach, Augie Garrido, and 3 challengers.
And the defending champs will start their run at home this year, and they'll stay home if they continue to win. But they've got their hands full in this regional. A real powerful offense from NC State, a Stanford team that's loaded with tradition and experience, and a UT Arlington team that might be the 4th seed, but they beat that Texas team earlier this year.
NC State is led by their outstanding center fielder, Matt Camp. This is a team that made the ACC Finals before losing to Clemson this year.
You see Matt Camp's numbers and how hot he's been over the last 47. He's reached base in 45 of those last 47 ball games, hitting .414 over that stretch. He's a guy that really can do everything from the top of the lineup, but the biggest advantage to Camp is the fact that he's a senior. You don't see a lot of seniors in college baseball, especially guys with his ability. Camp has been a huge part of NC State's run this year.
He'll go head-to-head with the pitcher who could be the top pick in the draft, at least the top 5 pick, big right-hander of Stanford, Greg Reynolds.
Reynolds, a guy that's really come into his own this year. The run started last year in the final game of the season when 11 innings against Baylor in the regional kind of springboarded him into this year. You see complete games in 4 of the last 5. Those are his only 4 complete games over the course of his career. Reynolds is pitching his best baseball at the right time.
We are looking forward to the start of the 2006 NCAA baseball tournament, the Austin Regional. Stanford, NC State. Lineups, first pitch next. Welcome back, everyone. Dish Falk Field, Austin, Texas. Dave Ryan, Kyle Peterson, our entire crew. Road to Omaha starts here, the regional in Austin, as Stanford takes on NC State. It's the first ever meeting between these 2 teams, Pac-10 and the ACC. Let's check out the batting order for the Cardinal. And their head coach, Mark Marquis, in his 30th season here. This is a lineup, Kyle, that has had to really be tested because of a slow start to the season. Chris Meinecker is their key, leads them in all big stats.
He does. The senior's been a real big part of this Stanford lineup, that .346 average, 11 home runs, 64 RBIs, both leaders as well. And it's kind of been a tale of 2 seasons for Stanford. They were great at the beginning, kind of slumped towards the middle. Last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, they've been a lot better, but they'll have their hands full today against Gibb Hobson, that 9-1 record. ERA .460, but the story with Hobson is what he's done really the last half of the season. His approach has changed, now a lot more aggressive in the strike zone, really starting to pound that fastball over, trying to get strike 1 and then expand the zone, and Hobson has been great over the second half of the season for NC State.
He is a junior, hoping this is not his final NC State start. Tells us yesterday that, in fact, he will be heading to pro ball. Dean Stotts will be the third base coach for Stanford. He is a longtime assistant of Mark Marquis. This is a program, Kyle, as we talked about, has had to adjust to kind of the underdog role. They struggled, lost the last couple games of the year, and on selection day here in the studio in Bristol, you know how close it was for the Cardinal to not make the tournament this year.
I think there was a time, and there was a time for everybody, that for those bubble teams, Mark Marquis and his staff, they weren't quite sure. I mean, they thought that their body work was good enough, and I think the argument is that it was. They swept Cal State Fullerton earlier this year, took 2 out of 3 from Texas. So they've won some big series, but struggled a little bit over the middle part of the year.
Beautiful day for baseball. Sun-drenched afternoon in Austin. Morning, actually. 11:05 local, 12 on the East Coast. We'll have a doubleheader here today, Texas and Texas Arlington. The other 2 teams in this NCAA region. Sewell will lead it off from Menlo Park, California. He is a junior center fielder. 3rd on the team in hitting. Chris Meinecker, their shortstop, is the leader. Underway from Austin today. Just want to have that good start. Each team wants to bolt into the winner's bracket. It's not so easy. Shake off the cobwebs, especially if you're Stanford. Hit pretty well, left center field. Driven, in fact, well back there. Camp back toward the wall. On the move, Matt Camp. Able to put it away in deep left center field. That ball hit a long way by Ryan Sewell. One down.
One of the things you'll see about Disch-Falk Field here in Austin is the depth of the alleys. 405 to left center and right center, which is right where Sewell hit that ball. In about any other ballpark, this ball either carries out or at least goes off the wall. But at 405 in left center, it gives the senior Camp enough time to get back there, make a big play for the first out of the inning.
DH Grant Eskew takes a strike in the outside corner. He's from Washington, Illinois. As Mark Marcus told us yesterday, their head coach interested in playing in Palo Alto. Line drive right up the middle. That is smoke for the first base hit of this regional. And Eskew's on. Let's check in with the NC State defense behind their big right-hander, Gib Hobson. Key player we told you about, Matt Camp, already made a nice play in center field. Ryan Pond was a late addition to the lineup by Elliot Avent, their head coach, in left field. Aragon will round out the outfield. Martin Diaz, an outstanding shortstop. He's from South Florida. We're told he's a great fielder. Corona, Bates, Battery, Hobson, and Mangum. Chris Meidecker, star shortstop, takes a strike.
Jonathan Diaz, the shortstop, not big in stature, just stands 5'9", 5'10", but really has been a spark plug for those NC State teams really since the day that he stepped foot on campus.
A real pleasure getting to know Chris Meidecker yesterday, the senior shortstop from Linwood, Washington. Has aspirations to become a minister someday, wants to be heavily involved in youth baseball and give back to the sport he loves so much. Tap foul by Chris. Not drafted after his junior year. That's an interesting point, Kyle, we can talk about throughout the weekend. You know, as a former Stanford pitcher, that some of these players, because of the academic standards and the value of a Stanford degree, they want to stay for 4 years, make sure they graduate.
Well, and with Meidecker, it got him a master's degree as well.
Rips down the left field line, base hit, Chris Meidecker. Eskew around second base. He'll be held at third, and Meidecker trots in with a stand-up double, ripped into the left field corner. And Stanford not being fooled at all by Gib Hobson in the early going. 3 balls smoked, 2 base hits, second and third with 1 down.
Pretty comfortable swing so far for Stanford. This one's a slider that kind of hangs up in the zone. And the minute that the hitter is able to see that bubble in a breaking ball, which is exactly what Meinecker saw there. The ball went up before it went down. He recognized it, kept that weight back, and ripped it down the left field line for a double. The ball hits off the wall, carry him straight back to the left fielder pond, so Dean Stotts has to hold the base runner at third.
Big right fielder Michael Taylor is 6'5", 250 from Apopka, Florida, near Orlando. We talked about Eskew being from Illinois. Taylor not a traditional Northern or Southern California prospect for Stanford. Inside to him, count levels at 1-1, but Kyle, you know, coming from Omaha, Nebraska, that Stanford recruiting can spread nationwide.
With the academic side, they really have to. I mean, they have to. It has to be kind of a national approach, because kind of limited with the amount of guys that they can get in, and so really it forces them to go coast to coast. And now with all the different baseball academies, it makes that job a little bit easier.
Got a 2-1 to Taylor. As a pitcher, you're facing a guy this big. What are you thinking about with strikes?
The first thing you're thinking about is you're trying to pick the ball up right out of his hand. It's hot. This is a new setting for a lot of these guys, and so you want to make sure that you just see it out of his hand first, then react.
Toward short. Diaz, only play is the first, and Taylor drives in the run. The first of our regional, as Eskew scores on the RBI ground out by Michael Taylor. And Stanford as the icebreaker here in this first game.
Let's see, stayed playing the infield back in that situation. So for Taylor, all you tried to do is hit a ball on the ground. If it goes through, great, but you know the minute it gets on the ground and past the pitcher that run's able to score. So a nice job of Taylor just to get the job done. Not worried about trying to drive the ball in there for a hit. Just get it on the ground and make sure the run scores.
Meidecker on the play advances to third base. Centers Chris Lewis. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Daryl Mason is the home plate umpire today. Scarberry, Scott Klein, and Tim Catton, four-man NCAA crew. All working hard to make the Super Regional round and perhaps the College World Series. That is the ultimate pinnacle, not just for the players and coaches, but umpires too. An issue out in deep right field. There is Dale Mason, our crew chief. Ryan Aragon taking care of a little debris for us. Lewis Sr. Off the outside corner to Chris from Santa Margarita, California. Sociology major. And we had a nice visit with Chris as well. Both Chris's, Lineker and Lewis. Senior really helped bring this program from a tough spot. Off-speed pitch, big swing and a miss from Chris Lewis. 2 straight losses to Cal Davis, including senior night. As Chris told us, a lot of the players from Stanford unsure on selection day if they'd be in the field of 64. Appeal to Rick Scarberry, first base umpire, and Lewis did not go.
You see the reaction from Lewis on those sliders from Gibb Hobson, and that front shoulder kind of falling out. That's why they keep attacking him with off-speed down and away. It looks like he's having a hard time keeping that front shoulder, and if you're NC State, you keep throwing that pitch and see if he'll make the adjustment.
Big swing and a miss, and Lewis, who has compiled some impressive numbers with his career at Stanford, comes up empty there. But the RBI ground out from Michael Taylor. And Stanford does cash in on the starter Gibb Hobson. We're underway from Austin, 1-0 Cardinal. NC State hits next. Stanford able to scratch out a run for their head coach Mark Marquis in the first inning against the starter Gibb Hobson for NC State. 1-0 Cardinal lead. We are underway in this Austin Regional. Let's check out the NC State lineup. Told you about Matt Camp, Aaron Bates, first baseman, high average. And Kyle, you and I checking out the stats. A lot of power for NC State, a team that maybe snuck up on some people this year in the ACC.
Yeah, no, this NC State team is a team that is loaded with power and just loaded with good hitters top to bottom. You see they insert Drew Martin into the 9 slot as well, but Bates into 3-hole, good power, good average, and that on-base percentage shows really something that you see top to bottom in this NC State lineup too, and that's patience. They will take their walks, and they will be patient at the plate.
They'll take on the Bay Area native, Greg Reynolds, who is 6'7", 225 from Pacifica, California, near San Francisco. He was a pick by the Phils in the 41st round out of high school in 03, but went to Stanford instead, and was that ever a good move? Because he could be a top 5 pick in the upcoming draft. Right around the corner. Talked with Greg about it yesterday. He's pretty excited. Big follower of Jason Schmidt. Of the Giants, his favorite pitcher. Pretty good role model to have. He'll face a tough leadoff hitter here in camp. Takes a strike. Well, the senior out of Belmont, North Carolina, has compiled some incredible stats this year. Down levels of 101 to him. Leads him in batting average, doubles, first team All-ACC performer, stolen bases. And he is top 5 in every major offensive category in NC State history. Breaks the ball in there.
A spike curveball there from Greg Reynolds, and it's something you're going to see a lot today. Kind of a 12-6 break, and he throws it pretty hard. It's a pitch he's only been throwing for about a year, but it's really made a big difference over the course of this year.
Good side and low to Camp. NC State had a player, Andrew Brackman, on its roster, a 6'10" pitcher. Also played basketball for Herb Sendek and NC State, but suffered a stress fracture of his hip early going in the baseball season once he made the switch over from hoops. As we talked today before the game with Matt Camp, he knows facing Reynolds at 6'7" is tough, but hey, he's faced a pretty big pitchers too, and Brackman is 6'10".
Going to fall ball last year, and kind of a good lead up into facing Reynolds. Brackman was a big loss for this NC State team too. He had 7 starts over the course of the year. It was one of their top weekend arms.
As a good leadoff hitter does, Matt Camp earns the base on balls. Elliot Avent, 10th season at NC State, Trying to win his 10th NCAA tournament game here today. North Carolina State has not made the College World Series since 1968. One time ever in school history making an appearance in Omaha. But players like Camp told us yesterday they kind of enjoy the underdog role. Won't be easy against the first-round pick Reynolds today. Texas is here in this regional. Ramon Corona, outstanding sophomore second baseman, is the two-hole hitter. Ramon has a pretty famous neighbor down in Coral Gables, Florida. A guy by the name of Alex Rodriguez. Not bad, huh? Just down the street, the A-Rod mansion, says Ramon. And A-Rod and Ramon's parents are good friends. Nice play by Hester. Keeps the ball in front of him. They've been certainly a very enthusiastic head coach. And you can just tell from meeting with him yesterday, Kyle, how important it is for both he and NC State to be here.
No, absolutely. I mean, they've had a great year through, really a run through a very tough conference. ACC top to bottom will match up with any conference this year, and NC State's played good baseball within that conference.
Peter for a strike to Corona. Last year, the first freshman position player at NC State in 11 years to make all ACC. As a freshman, he was outstanding in 325 his rookie year, 363 this year. He's been a good one. Teammate shortstop helped him come to NC State. And John Diaz towards second base. Lewis flips there in time to Meinecker, and they get Camp the lead runner. Good play made by the seniors. Lewis and Meinecker there on the fielder's choice at second base, and their defense behind the starter Greg Reynolds today, Kyle.
Look at Jim Rappaport and Ryan Sewell out in the outfield. Rappaport, a former center fielder, now Sewell in center. We talked about the size of this Disch-Falk field. The importance of having speed here can really not be overstated. Throw turf into the equation. There's a lot of balls that get to the fence that otherwise wouldn't, so that speed in the outfield could really be beneficial to Stanford this weekend.
Here's big first baseman Aaron Bates. Ball on inside. Aaron was an 8th round pick of the Marlins, but elected to come back after his junior year draft last year for another season at NC State. And was Elliott Avent ever pleased about that? Native Californian fouls that ball off, and it's 1-2 to Bates.
As a coach, those are the phone calls you like to get, because a lot of times when guys are drafted that high like Bates was, most of the time they'll leave. College baseball players are eligible to be drafted after their 3rd year at a Division I school, or if they're 21, whichever comes first. And so you assume as a head coach you're going to lose some of your best players after your junior year. If those guys come back, a lot of times that's what propels team to the next level.
Toward short, Meinecker to Lewis. They'll get the double play, will they? Off the bag. Nice play made by Castro going up high. His foot landed off the base, but got there in time to double up Bates. And that'll do it for NC State in the home first. One complete from Austin. Cardinal 1-0 lead on the Wolfpack. Stanford 1-0 lead on NC State. Underway the regional, Austin, Texas. The road to Omaha starts right here. Pretty close play, Kyle, at first base to end the first inning for NC State.
Chris Lewis, the second baseman, coming across. You see Castro, the first baseman, go up. Watch that right foot. Hustle by Bates to get down to first, but it didn't look like the right foot of Castro got back on the base in time. Rick Scarborough down at first base rung him up. A big double play to get Stanford out of the inning. And it's one of those when you see that first baseman kind of tapping with that foot when it comes down, it's the toughest play in the world for a first base umpire, because you can't tell if he gets there or not. It was close, but it didn't look like Castro got the foot down.
Awfully close. Rick had the bird's eye view. Head to the top of the second. Castro, Hester, and Molina will hit here for Stanford. Jason just made that play at first base a moment ago. Castro Valley, California. Jason Castro comes from. A young player in the Stanford lineup. Outside and low to Jason. So an infusion of youth with a Cardinal. And Kyle, you and I seeing Stanford make College World Series after College World Series in Omaha. Those several consecutive appearances are used to the veteran leadership of Stanford. And having players who've been around a long time, this is a different look for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they still have some veteran leadership up the middle, especially you throw in Hester, Meinecker, and Lewis, and at least you've got it in the right spots. You have it behind the plate and in the middle of the infield, but there's a lot of freshmen that have played big roles this year for Stanford. It's one of the reasons why you've seen some inconsistency. It's their first time through, and you've got guys that are playing real important roles that haven't been through it before. There's going to be hiccups.
Castro taking all the way in 3-0, make it 3-1. Freshman youth, just talked about it. A lot of games started for first-year players. Austin Yount is the nephew of Hall of Famer Robin Yount. Off the outside corner, Castro earns the base on balls to lead off the second for Stanford. Senior catcher John Hester next from Roswell, Georgia, the Marist School, all the way across country to play and study at Stanford. Rips, base hit over the head of Diaz into left field. Hahn has it on a couple of hops. This is just the second game all year NC State has played on the artificial turf. And nothing quite this hard. They played at Maryland. They've got the field turf surface, which is the simulated grass. This is the carpet. So watch for balls in the outfield today. Pond made a nice play there.
Two-seam fastball trying to get inside on Hester, and it's one of those balls with a wood bat probably doesn't go quite as far. It kind of trademarked him, but a nice job of kind of powering through that, getting it right over the hands of the shortstop Jonathan Diaz. But this shows you what those leadoff walks do. The leadoff walk to Castro now moves to second on the hit by Hester.
Molina next. Sophomore third base. Called him at a bunt, takes the ball. He's from Southgate, California. Big Dodger fan, and his favorite big leaguer, Chipper Jones.
Molina showing bunt in this situation, and ideally you're going to try to get that bunt down the third base line. You want to force the third baseman to field the bunt. If you bunt it that softly, it's going to end up just fine. It's a nice job by Molina, and he advances the base runner.
Bates to Corona there. Nice sacrifice bunt laid down by Molina. Castro and Hester advance 90 feet, so they're in scoring position here with one down in the second. Stanford in good shape.
The overall goal is just to make sure that those base runners move up 90 feet. And if you force the third baseman to field the ball, then you know there can't be a play on the lead runner at third, because that third baseman is coming in and taking himself out of the play. So ideally you get it on the third base, but in this situation it's soft enough that the only play is the first.
First at bat here for the left fielder, junior Jim Rappaport. Jim from Westlake, California. For a lot of this season, Jim was the leadoff hitter, but he struggled of late, just hitting about 240 coming into the region. About halfway through the season, Jim became 8-9 hole hitter for Mark Marcus. Coach likes his speed, ability to drag bunt, possibility of getting drafted, according to Mark Marcus, for Jim Rappaport. Same go for Chris and Chris. Meinecker and Lewis up the middle. They are seniors. They should be picked as well this year. Big swing and a miss there from Rappaport.
Swing and a miss, but on a 2-0 fastball. We talked about Hobson off the top of the show. We talked about over the second half of the season how he had really been a lot more consistent and aggressive with that fastball. Throughout the course of this game, we've seen him falling behind a fair amount. That's something to watch, because if he's pitching in 1-0, 2-0 counts, that's advantage Stanford.
Foul straight back there by Jim Rappaport. In this inning, he's fallen behind 3 of the 4 hitters. Control at issue early for Hobson. Got lit up by Eskew, a double by Meinecker in the first. Taylor cashed in with the RBI groundout. That's why it's 1-0. Stanford threatening again.
Slider kind of misses out in a way, and it's a similar situation to the first for Stanford. In that situation, Michael Taylor hit the ground ball to get the run in. That's all Rappaport's looking to do here. Just something on the turf and try to score Castro from third.
Hit well, right center field. Finds the gap. 1 run is in. 2 will score easily here for Stanford. And the Cardinal leads 3-0. Castro and Hester score here in the second. Great start for the Cardinal.
9-hole hitter saying, I don't need to hit it on the ground. I'll hit it in a gap and drive them both in. It's a little slider that hung up in the zone. And Rappaport, the advantage to a left-hander with a right-handed slider is it kind of moves back into you. So it's the ability to get the barrel on the bat. Watch his slider kind of hang up in the zone, and you can see it feed right back towards the barrel. Rappaport's bat, a nice job of keeping his weight back, drives it in the gap. That's a 2-run double.
Back to the top of the Stanford order now, Ryan Sewell, who flew out to center field back in the first. He's 0 for 1. 7th two-base hit of the year for Rappaport, a big one. Knocks in 2 here in the second. That's how you earn your way back to the top of the order. That ball in the pickoff try thrown away by Hobson. And Rappaport advances to third base. That's where he is with 1 down. Things unraveling here early for Gib Hobson at NC State.
Good idea for NC State as Rappaport had a pretty healthy lead out there at second base, but as a pitcher, when you turn to make this throw, you see the shortstop break in from the back. You have to make sure that if you're going to miss with the throw, you miss to the shortstop side, because that's where that shortstop's coming from. If it's on the second baseman's side, what happened right there is going to consistently happen. It's going to either go off his glove or go flying into center field. So if you miss to the side they're running from.
Infield in, that one jerked foul by Ryan Sewell. Elliot Avent, the head coach of NC State, told us before the game today, facing Greg Reynolds at 6'7", top 5 pick potentially. This team will have to hit its way on. And with Reynolds looking good, this could be difficult. He did not want to fall behind. Strike in the outside corner. And Sewell goes down looking for the second out.
Designated hitter, 26, Frank Eskew.
That looked like an aggressive fastball from Hobson. That looked like what he had been doing the last couple of weeks in an 0-2 advantage, which is really what he wants to work to, and just pounded that fastball away to get a big strikeout of Sewell.
2 down for Eskew. Little chopper up the middle. It's a base hit. Grant Eskew knocks in Rappaport, the 4th Cardinal run. And Stanford off to a great start in this Austin Regional. 4-0 here in the second.
Grant Eskew with his second hit of the ball game, and a kid that coming in who had just 28 at bats over the course of the year. So Mark was throwing him into the 2-hole because he's been hot as of late. This time his second single of the ball game. It's a 2-out RBI, and the Cardinal have put 4 on the board, and that is it for Gib Hobson. He's on his way out of this ball game.
Wow. Quick hook for Elliot Avent, the head coach of NC State. His star pitcher, by far most experienced, with a 9-1 record coming in. Gib Hobson done. Pitching change for NC State. We'll tell you about the new hurler for the Wolfpack when we return to Austin. Run in the first on the starter Gib Hobson. 3 have crossed here in the second for Stanford. That sends Hobson to the showers early. His day over. That means we have a brand new pitcher in Jason Duncan, senior lefty from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, or Forsyth High School. And he'll come into this game fairly early, but Kyle, good point by you in our commercial break. You have to save Hobson for later on. This is a double elimination tournament, and NC State will, of course, play at least one more game.
Yeah, you've got to play to win the thing, and if you're going to win it, obviously going to need a fair amount of arms throughout the rest of it. If they take Hobson out in a situation like this and are fortunate enough to come back and win this game, potentially he could come back and pitch on Sunday or Monday. And so see LA Avent thinking ahead and saying, all right, we're in a hole right now. Obviously they want to win this one, but if they're going to win the whole thing, they're going to need Hobson at some point down the road.
Duncan could go a long way if necessary for NC State as Meinecker takes a strike. Chris double, rocket into the left field corner, first at bat, back in the first. Number for Hobson, not exactly what he wanted, just 1 2/3 innings work here today. Slash foul, out of play off the bat of Meinecker.
1 2/3 for Hobson, but I think the most important number there was 34 pitches. It's a number that isn't too high, and you could absolutely bring him back on a day's rest. Theoretically, could bring him back tomorrow if you need to. There's a lot of guys, the bullpen, that'll come in, throw 25, 30, 40 pitches, and will still be able to go tomorrow. So Hobson in that spot to where if they need him down the road, he hasn't thrown too many pitches. He'll be able to come back.
Off the outside corner to Meinecker. Duncan 9 starts this year. Or in his career, rather, 6 this year. And 40 2/3 innings of work for Jason coming in. Long relief required here for Jason Duncan.
I think the pitching change does something else for Elliott Avent too. Is it showed Stanford something entirely different. You had a right-hander with a pretty good sinker, pretty good stuff, and now you bring a lefty in. It's kind of an off-speed, fool you guy, and potentially it's a totally different look than Stanford saw. So the pitching change is one, but a totally different guy as well.
He has to face a difficult hitter here in Meinecker, the active career leader in homers and RBI for Stanford coming into this season. His high school Hall of Fame for baseball and tennis up in Washington State. Off speed again, fouled off by Meinecker.
Meinecker's a guy that's going to get a chance to play too. We talked that he wasn't drafted last year. He'll be a decent draft this year, but see the numbers he's put up: 11 home runs, 64 RBIs, good solid hands out at short. He's played every inning this year for Stanford out at shortstop. He's going to get a chance to play some professional baseball.
Count runs full to Chris. Talked about how he earned his master's degree, or is earning it, in sociology. Graduated early. He's had a great senior season. 3-2 pitch, slash, right field's going to drop in for a base hit. Second of the day for Meinecker. Eskew around second. He's in at third base. And the hit parade continues here for the Cardinal runners at the corners. Already 3 in here in the second with 2 down.
3-2 with 2 out, so Eskew's moving on the pitch, and you saw kind of a concerted effort from Meinecker in that at bat to take the ball the other way. Duncan was consistently working him away. Meinecker was trying to shoot it the other way. He does it again right there. A little fastball out, probably off the plate, but Meinecker doing a nice job of flipping it over the second baseman, and Eskew goes from first to third.
Brings up big Michael Taylor. The RBI ground out to short in the first. Taylor's 34th RBI this season. His mom, Cheryl, is the director of tourism for Orlando. Now, that's a lot of tourists coming in. I mean, talk about a busy area. Potential for Michael on the field. 14 preseason Baseball America pick to be one of the top players in the nation. Coach Marquis says he's not sure how far Michael can go. Incredible potential, very high ceiling, as they say, with physical tools already. And learning more and more about baseball at this level every day. Expects 15 to 20 homers from Taylor next year. He's only a sophomore.
Be a big jump, and you look at Taylor's numbers this year, just 4 home runs. But the one thing that happens a lot of times in college baseball is Taylor get a chance to go play summer baseball somewhere, probably swing a wood bat. You see jumps like that sometimes with guys who have the potential that Taylor does.
1-2 pitch off the outside corner to Michael. Marcus played football and baseball at Stanford. Michael's dad played football at Maryland. Here in the baseball field, good chance again. 2-2 pitch. Chopper, it's off that turf way up there. At third, Martin's throw, trouble. And another run scores. Eskew crosses the plate for Stanford. The throw from Martin, low and off. The target for Bates. 5-0 Cardinal.
It's a tough decision for Bates over at first base. You see the ground ball from Taylor, kind of a turf hop. And when this ball comes up, that he's going to have a chance to beat it out. A low throw from Martin. But for Bates, you've got 2 decisions. Do you try to stretch and make the play, or do you come off and make sure you keep it in front of him? A nice job there to keep it in front of him. That gets by him. Meinecker has a pretty decent chance to score all the way from second. In the end, it's going to be called a base hit for Taylor.
So give Michael a second RBI as Eskew scores the 5th Cardinal run. 4 have come plateward in this second inning. Runner going at second as Meinecker was off on a sprint.
Situation right there where Meinecker's probably on his own. The senior's been out there plenty of times, and you're stealing third base 9 times out of 10. You're stealing off the pitcher. He's getting some kind of a consistent action from that pitcher. Meinecker with a solid lead already, but now it's how far can he extend it from there.
His buddy Chris Lewis, second baseman, tries to deliver here, but will not this time. Takes called strike 3, a fastball from Duncan, but plenty of damage done for Stanford. They nearly hit around. Scored 4 runs. Rappaport knocked in 2 with an RBI double to right center. Cardinal looking great early in this Austin Regional. $5-0. Cardinal looking pretty good here in the early going of this Austin Regional double elimination format. The NCAA Baseball Regionals continue later today here on ESPNU, 3:30 Eastern. We have our second game of the day from Austin as UTA, the Mavericks of Texas Arlington, actually beat the Longhorns this year. They'll take on Texas. Those are the regional seed numbers you see there. You saw the Fullerton Regional getting underway, San Diego, Fresno State, and then St. Louis against Cal State Fullerton. So, Kyle, your thoughts on that other regional in California?
Good one. I mean, Fullerton obviously the favorite in that Fullerton region. For one, it's home. 2, they're a top 8 national seed. But big blow for Fullerton is the loss of Vinny Pastano. Their closer went down with an arm injury, and he's a guy that they've really relied on a lot for the course of this year. So that's a tough loss for Fullerton this time of the year.
DH is John Still. Long inning there for the NC State defense. Still's first at bat of the day. From Madison, Mississippi. Played at Stetson prior to his stint at NC State. Sprays that one the other way, base hit into right field. The first hit of the day for the Wolfpack.
A 5-0 Stanford lead early, but we're talking about an NC State team that hit about 335 as a club over the course of the year, so they can score some runs. I mean, obviously you don't want to be a 5-0 hole early, but this is a team that has the ability to score runs and score them in a hurry. Good power, pretty decent speed, but top to bottom, it's a team that can really hit.
Brian Aragon next up. Right fielder, speaking of power, tied for the team lead, 9 home runs. Fastball off the outside corner to Bryant. From Miami, another transfer. Florida International University. Big part of the culture in college baseball. JC ball is huge as a precursor to D1. And then the transfers as well from other Division I schools.
Yeah, and the transfers are different in baseball than they are in basketball or football. In basketball or football, if you transfer from a D1 school, you have to sit out a year period, regardless of whether you get your release or not. But in Division I baseball, if you get your release, if the coach releases you from your scholarship, you can go play somewhere else the following year. So that's why you see a lot more transfers in baseball.
Event. Going to bring NC State back to the series. First time since the late 60s. Hard to imagine. You and I see Clemson there a few times out of that conference. North Carolina's had a very good year with Andrew Miller, their star left-hander. Throws 96. They'll be dangerous in the tournament.
Miller with a chance to be the #1 overall pick. UVA had a great year. Virginia will host in Charlottesville at the regional. So the ACC has some clubs that are going to have a chance to make it this year. And some clubs that haven't been there in a while. UVA, NC State, North Carolina. We talk about Florida State, Miami, and Clemson a fair amount. But there's some teams that haven't been there. They have a great shot to make it to Omaha this year.
3-0 pitch on the outside corner.
It's a big inning for Greg Reynolds right here, too. Your team puts you out to a 5-0 lead, 4 in the top of the second. These are the kinds of innings you want to go out there and have as quick an inning as you possibly can. You see Elliott Avon's team 5 sweeps this year in that tough ACC conference.
Aragon taking on the way. Count runs full to him. So Reynolds battles back from the 3-0 count. They went over 600 career wins this year. 7th NCAA tournament appearance in Raleigh. Coach Ament 1 and 2 there the last 2 years. Lincoln Regional last year. Bowed out with a 1-2 record. Patience from Aragon pays off. Second walk of the game for Reynolds. First of the second inning, runners at first and second. And you know, if you're Mark Marquis, you hate to see that happen. Your team has been staked to the 5-0 lead, and now Reynolds struggles here in the second.
Leadoff single, and you'll take giving up hits, but giving up walks is kind of what drives every coach crazy. Reynolds kind of worked his way back into that count, fell behind 3-0, gets back to 3-2, but now the Wolfpack in business. The first 2 guys on here, and it's a time where they need to make a little bit of noise offensively.
Time for the coach to go to the sunflower seeds, right?
Keep the nerves down over there.
Yeah, well, speaking of nerves, both coaches are certainly energetic in their dugouts and out on the field. We'll see that all day and throughout our weekend, the broadcast on ESPN. You sprayed foul. Speaking of the dugout, watch out. Off the bat of Ryan Pond, that'll scatter the Cardinal. Good look from our crew at that angle. But that can be a tough line drive to get out of the way from. And Kyle's, you know, the College World Series last year.
Just for a reminder.
I believe it was Stanford, wasn't it? Oh, no, they weren't there last year. What game was that?
Florida, Texas.
Florida, Texas. And Kyle got hit by a line drive in the dugout. Reporting for ESPN. Thought you broke your leg, didn't you?
I've played a lot of baseball. I've never been hit that hard. It gets to you in a hurry over there in the dugout. You're not expecting it either.
I spent a lot of time down there at Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha. Never been hit. Close. Very close. Ryan Pond, late insert into the Wolfpack lineup. Great play by Hester on the short hop behind the plate to save that ball from getting by the dish. Save his pitcher, Greg Reynolds.
The key to this one, too, watch Hester move his entire body over. You see a lot of catchers sort of kind of try to go to backhand that baseball. And when you backhand it, it's a do or die. If you don't glove it cleanly, the ball's going to get by. And in this case, base runners are going to move up to second and third. But by moving the body over like Hester did right there, even if he doesn't glove it, a lot of times it'll hit right in the middle of that chest protector. If he knocks it down out in front, the runners aren't going to go anywhere. So that's the way you do it behind the plate. If you have the time, get out there, get that body in front of it so you can block the baseball.
Pitching coach Tom Kunis will chat here with Reynolds. Got 2-1 to Pond. Already he's walked Aragon after the leadoff single to John Still.
Might be one just to get him a little bit fired up, just to kind of go up there and rattle the cage a little bit. A lot of times where subconsciously you can get a little bit too comfortable out there on the mound, especially when your club gives you a lead like this, and that's a little bit what it looks like right now with Reynolds. Not pounding the zone and really going after it like he was in the first. And sometimes a discussion from the pitching coach will get your mind right back where it ought to be.
Two-one breaking ball on the outside corner. The count level to 2-2. So we talked about Miller possibly being the overall #1 pick from North Carolina. Drew Stubbs of Texas could be a top 5 pick. We'll see him in our second game against Texas Arlington. Reynolds is top 10 material we talked about. Who do you think goes #1?
Well, from the sounds of it right now, I think either Lincecum for Washington or Andrew Miller, the left-hander down in North Carolina, is going to go first to the Royals. The Royals have said they're going to take a pitcher, and it looks like it'll be one of those two. But Reynolds is going to go real soon. Could go as early as 2 or 4.
2-2 to Pond. Glove by Reynolds. A throw to second base there. Moniker covers nicely. Throw back to first in time for the double play. Reynolds helps his own cause. Solid defensive play. 2 down.
You know, we talked earlier in the game when Gib Hobson threw the ball into center field. How he missed the shortstop on the second base side. Here's what happens when you miss on the shortstop side. It gives him the time to make the play, even if it's not a perfect throw. This one kind of handcuffs Meinecker when he's heading over, but at least it gets him on the shortstop side. He's allowed to get his feet under him, throw a strike onto first. Now 2 big double plays in the first 2 innings for Reynolds.
First at bat of the day, Caleb Mangum. Catcher for NC State. Second leading hitter on the Wolfpack stat chart. On the outside corner for a strike. Made the All-ACC team. The native of North Carolina. 7 for 17 in the ACC tourney in Jacksonville. He had 412 down there. 0-2 pitch, fisted, foul.
Spot to go with that 0-2 fastball. You saw him go up and out. Looked like he two-seamed it, tried to get a little run on it. Now expect him to throw that breaking ball down and away. A lot of times you'll set up the next pitch with the 0-2 pitch. Try to get him a little bit off the plate. Now bury that curveball down and away.
Two, way high inside. A tough year in terms of the health for Caleb Mangum. Has battled injuries to his left ankle, left knee, and now a sore back. So the accomplishments at the ACC tournament even more impressive. Tap foul. They call them the tools of ignorance for a reason. Your body gets beaten up back there behind the dish, Kyle.
So many times it's just things that you don't see. Foul tips that go off a guy's arm, and you try to squat for 2.5 hours and tell me how you feel just doing that. I mean, it's the toughest position in the game to play, but it's probably the most important. It really is the guy that runs the entire club.
Nineteenth pitch of the day here for Reynolds. Towards second. Lewis on a hop. Makes the easy flip and throw to Castro at first. Nothing across for NC State. Reynolds gets himself out of a jam with a nice double play ball. 5-zip. Stanford and Mark Marquis in great shape to begin this NCAA tournament run. They have won the College World Series twice under their coach. 30th year at Stanford for him. 87-88. And runners up as well in 2001 and 03 in Omaha. 15 regional titles, 5 super regional titles, and a record of 29-8 overall in tournament play since the super regional format came to us back in '99. And this year, as we look at their season rewind, has been one of ups and downs, the definition. And some pretty nervous baseball players on selection day, unsure whether or not Stanford would make the tournament this year.
showing right now that they belong. I mean, it's a team that offensively has maybe struggled throughout the course of the year, but they're taking some pretty comfortable swings today. And a lot of times for a team like that, to where you're not quite sure if you're going to get in or not, it's about as big a boost as you can get from the confidence standpoint. It truly is a new season at this point for everybody, but especially those that maybe thought they weren't going to be here at this time.
Nice chat yesterday with Chris Lewis, Chris Meinecker, told us about DWA. That is the theme for Stanford as Castro steps up. Fastball off the outside corner. Deal with adversity. That's what that stands for. Adam Sorgi, one of their projected stars, went down with an injury before the season. Lost for the year. And the players certainly know, as we see Castro's numbers, that sometimes you have to do that. It's not all going to be easy. Not all going to be victories and rolling over teams. Foul back by Castro.
Not over the course of 56 games. I mean, there's going to be a point to where you struggle, and the goal in this game is to try to get those struggles turned around as fast as they can. It's impossible to run through a season and have nothing happen. But if it happens and continues for 3, 4, 5 weeks, that's when the troubles really start. And that's kind of what Stanford ran into towards the middle. But if that happens in the middle and then you get a little confidence back at the end like they did, it kind of springboards you in to the postseason.
Two towards second. Nice backhand play. Corona going down. Castro had walked and scored back in the second. And the Cardinal pushed 4 across. Castro single and scored. Now he's back in the second as well. 1 for 1 for John. Hit pretty well right center field. Drifting over his cap, but stepping in is Aragon out. And pretty deep right for the second out.
Nice job by Jason Duncan here to get the first 2 outs at the end for NC State. Obviously, that's exactly what you want out of a guy in this situation. You want him to give him as many innings as he possibly can, because we talked about the importance of bringing Gib Hobson back later on in this game. Well, if you can save the rest of that staff, it only helps this NC State team as this tournament goes on. And Duncan now has been impressive since he came on.
Molina takes a strike. Randy, a sack bunt, part of the big second inning where they scored 4. So Gib Hobson can do nothing but watch the rest of today. As Kyle pointed out astutely, we'll certainly see him again in this regional. He's the horse for NC State, their best pitcher. Save the arm, save the innings. Rocket up the middle off the bat of Molina. That'll be his first hit of the day. 2 solid plate appearances for Randy Molina so far. And he's on with 2 down.
Impressive swing from Molina, but it's a spot in an 0-2 count that you just can't go. Duncan just gets too much of the plate. See his catcher Mangum start outside, then move back inside, but that ball needs to be elevated more if they're going to go in on an 0-2 count. Belt high gives Molina the chance to pull those hands in and drive it up the middle, and you never want to give up a hit on 0-2.
Rappaport, first ball swinging, nice play there, and first by Bates, diving to his right. He spears it nicely, and that'll do it for Stanford in the 3rd. Rappaport robbed. Now a base hit by Aaron Bates at first base. Nothing across for the Cardinal. Good defense there by NC State. Still 5-0 game. On the Stanford campus, off to a 5-0 lead for their starter Greg Reynolds today. NCAA baseball regionals continue later today right here on ESPNU at 3:30 Eastern. We have our second game of the day from Austin. Texas Arlington takes on Texas. Look forward to seeing that one. Then at 7 Eastern, the Fullerton Regional gets started. San Diego, Fresno State, St. Louis, and Fullerton. That's all coming up.
Talked about that Fullerton Regional a little bit earlier. Watch out for Fresno State. Fresno State is a very talented team. Mike Batesall's club has come on this season. Won over 40 ball games, won their conference and the conference tournament. They could cause some people some problems out there.
From Miami, Jonathan Diaz, computer engineering major. 8-hole hitter, and we are told one of the top fielders in college baseball. Looking forward to seeing him, the arm strength at shortstop. He helped convince Ramon Corona, their star second baseman, their sophomore, to come to NC State. Good to have that South Florida connection. As Elliott told us, there's just so many great recruiting possibilities down there. Overflowing with prospects.
And there's not that many schools, and I think that's the advantage. You got a lot of kids that have the ability to play Division I baseball, but you only have so many shortstops in your roster if you're Miami or if you're South Florida, Florida Atlantic, or whoever's down there. And you see a lot of those kids. Did a Tennessee game earlier this year, and they had 8 or 9 kids from South Florida on their roster. They play some good baseball down there.
2-2 spread foul by John Diaz. We're coming to you from Dish Fog Field, Austin, Texas. The Austin Regional underway here on ESPNU. Dave Ryan, Kyle Peterson, our entire crew, set for 2 games today. The top seed in this region, 3rd national seed Texas, plays Texas Arlington in game 2. Diaz goes down swinging. Well behind that pitch from Reynolds. Stanford scored 4 in the second. That's one key reason they've got a 5-0 lead here.
Reynolds doing a nice job of spotting his fastball outside on a 2-2 count. Kind of a defensive swing from Diaz, but that's what happens when you're 6'7", at about 92, 93 miles an hour. One thing to watch with Reynolds, though, as we move on, is that pitch count. It's now getting close to 40 pitches. It's a Stanford club that, as a pitching staff, is strong on the front end, but the middle of that bullpen has struggled a little bit this season. Ideally, they'd like to see Reynolds go the whole way.
Here's Drew Martin, 9-hole hitter. 3rd base for NC State, just a freshman. Got his first career start against North Carolina. Towards second, it's Lewis. And the second out. Did pretty well against Andrew Miller. 3 for 4 in the ball game was Martin, including 2 for 3 against Miller, the star lefty of the Tar Heels. So Martin earning himself a trip here to Austin as the starting 3rd baseman. Grounds out against Martin, 2 down. Reynolds rather, 2 down here in the 3rd. Top of the order for Camp. Matt walked in the 1st. Big Sean Figgins fan. He likes the way Sean could play second base, 3rd, play left, finish up and right in one game. Versatility, that's what Camp likes. Way inside.
Every major league club would love to have a guy like a Figgins. You can put him anywhere. He can steal bases. He's a great guy in the clubhouse. I mean, those guys play huge roles in the major leagues. Kind of the skill set that Camp has.
Chopper, short. Monaker, big arm, gets the speedy Matt Camp at 1st. Reynolds has settled down after a bit of a rocky road to begin the 2nd inning. It is all Stanford so far. When we return, we'll have a live interview with NC State head coach Elliott Avent. Monaker looks good. He's got a gun at short. Top of the 4th inning, 5-0 Stanford. We are joined by Elliott Avent, head coach at NC State. Live interview in the dugout. Coach, how do you assess the start of this game? It wasn't a good beginning for you, but how do you feel your team can respond?
Well, that's what we've done all year is we've battled back, and so our team's not really worried in the dugout. I mean, their pitcher Reynolds is pretty doggone good, so we got to worry about that. But it's not a good start. Gibb just didn't have his good stuff. His slider wasn't. It was flat. You know, he threw a couple good sliders. I think it was Lewis, number 8. But other than that, his slider was a little bit flat. Didn't have quite the velocity, and you know what that's all about. But he competed. He battled, and Duncan's battling for us right now. So we feel like Duncan's going to keep him there. We'll have a chance to get back in the game.
Elliot, how about the decision to get Gibb out when you did? Do you think that gives you the ability to bring him back later on if you need to?
That's kind of what I was thinking, Kyle. I was kind of actually I should have, in retrospect, brought him. I was going to bring Duncan in for the lefty. I think it was SQ. And Gibbs done so much for us all year, and I thought if he gets SQ out, he'll go out and roll for 3 or 4 innings. So I'll let him face him, and then he gets to hit the middle. So instead of 3-0, it's 5-0. So that's a big difference as we try to battle Reynolds. But I told Gibb that when I went and got him. I said, "Hey, big guy, you're going to be out there before this weekend's over."
Elliot, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Elliot.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Thanks, Kyle.
4th inning here for Stanford, top of the order. Coach Haven's team will face Ryan Sewell. Center fielder flew out deep to center and also struck out looking in the second. 0 for 2 so far. Fastball a bit high there to Sewell. He was a part-time player last year for Mark Marquis. Coach tells us he can run. Good speed, gap power. Good surge at the end of the season, which continues into the postseason here for Sewell. Laces a base hit up the middle, leading off a 4th in style for Stanford. So as Elliot Haven told us, his team is not going to give up. Had a very good season as NC State, for their head coach, 20th tournament appearance for them overall in school history. But as we talked about Andrew Brackman, their 6'10" pitcher, also plays basketball for NC State. Team made the first round of the tournament this year. Lost for the year with that hip stress fracture. That's been a real problem for them.
Brackman, a guy that for NC State was probably their top arm, especially early in the season. Hobson's kind of come on the second half of the season. NC State team that really couldn't afford to lose Brackman because the strength of their club was Brackman and Hobson on the front end.
SQ up there, nice play by Caleb Mangum. 58-foot curveball. Not close from Duncan, but Mangum keeps the ball in front of him and makes sure Sewell cannot advance 90 feet.
This is a time you could see Mark Marquis get a little aggressive. It's a team that usually doesn't run a lot. With a 5-0 lead early, you could see him start to do some things as far as hitting and running, as far as putting guys in motion that maybe they haven't done a ton of this year, especially now with a 2-1 count and the way that SQ's handled the bat today. You could see some action right here.
Nice start for Grant so far in this regional. Single to left and scored in the first. RBI single to center and scored in the second. 2-1 pitch way inside. Coach Marquis says Grant has exceeded expectations. He's a freshman DH. Outside corner for a strike. Also a very good student.
Talk about a confidence boost. Everybody always peeks out at the scoreboard just to kind of see what your average is. You're a freshman, your first regional. You look up, you're hitting .533. That gives you a good feeling when you're standing in it.
Pretty good numbers. Flare, short center field. Treble Camp on the move. Did not make the catch. Ball falls, and on the play, Sewell was caught between first and second and forced at second base. Excellent effort there by Camp, diving in center, but he couldn't make the play.
Camp having to play deep for SQ, and it's a ball that isn't hit very hard. With the wind blowing in, it's going to knock it down the entire time. It looks like he catches it, but never really controls it. It was a late call over at third base, but it has to be. You have to wait and see if that ball is in his glove. That's what makes it so tough for Sewell, the base runner on first. You go as far as you can, but the big thing is you make sure you don't get doubled off. There really isn't anything a base runner can do right there.
Meinecker trying to hold up, and does, says Rick Scarberry, our first base umpire. Start for Chris. 2 for 2. Double to left, single to right. Pitch outside. Tremendous season for Chris Meinecker. Look at that. Team leader. Average homers, runs knocked in, runs scored, hits, and slugging percentage. Wow.
All that out of your shortstop, too.
Not
a lot of times.
bad.
See it out of a corner guy, maybe a corner outfielder, but the shortstop doing it.
To right field. Aragon has this one lined up. It's the first time Meinecker's been retired today. 2 down, the visiting fourth here in Austin.
Right fielder number 30, Michael Taylor.
Michael Taylor, we told you about, coming out of the Orlando area. But he's had an RBI ground out to short in the first. Infield single. It was ruled in the second. Knocked in a run as well. Despite the fact his dad David played football in Maryland, not much of a football player in high school was Michael. It was all baseball. And we know South Florida, Central Florida, very much a hotbed. This one sliced down the right field line and fouled by Taylor. Certainly for football. We talk about the baseball recruiting hotbed as well. A player like Taylor with his physical stature, you think about every football coach from the time he was a young kid said, Michael, you need to be with me in the fall.
Bet that Walt Harris has probably peeked in on a couple baseball practices as well. But I bet you could have a tight end right there, a defensive end that might look pretty good in a Stanford football uniform as well. But Mark Marquis is happy he's playing just one sport.
Chopper towards short. Here's Diaz. Shows us the big arm. Taylor retired. Nothing across for Stanford in the fourth. Still a 5-0 lead. We'll talk with our veteran coach Mark Marquis live from the dugout when we return to Austin. He is 13th all-time college baseball wins list. 1254 coming in this weekend. Augie Garrido of Texas leads the way with 1,580. Mark Marquis, 30th here at Stanford, joins us live. How do you feel your team responded, Mark, to the start of this weekend?
Well, we played well so far, but North Carolina State's very dangerous, very great offensive team, so hopefully we can keep them in check. They scare me a lot with that bat.
And you talk about that offense. Greg Reynolds out there today. He's been so good the last part of the season. What have you seen out of him today that you've liked?
Well, I think he's starting to settle in a little bit. He's really jacked up a little to begin the game, but he's getting the ball down, which I like. His fastball's down. He needs to do that. If he gets it up, he'll be in trouble. But he's starting to get it down, so I like that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Marquis of Stanford joining us live in the Cardinal dugout. Talking about his starter, Greg Reynolds. A little trouble call for Reynolds in the second. He was still led off with a single. He walked Aragon, but since then, been pretty smooth.
And at the time, you know, I think Tom Kunis, I said that Tom Kunis was out to try to settle him down, to try to get him excited. Might have been the opposite, just to try to get him to settle down. It's exactly what's happened since then. A big first pitch out here for Reynolds in the fourth. But since Kunis went out, Reynolds looks like he's real comfortable out there. And that's one of the things they had to do, is just make sure that he got himself a little bit in check. It can happen. In a game like this, you get too excited. But dominant numbers so far. The 2 walks have not hurt him. He's given up just 1 hit.
Retired 6 straight, including Corona. First ball swinging, leading off the fourth for the Wolfpack. Now it's Bates. Fastball for a strike to Aaron Bates. He's got 9 home runs this year. A lot of power. Towards short. Meinecker. Smooth out there, 2 away.
Designated hitter number 45, John Still.
Greg Reynolds' parents, Mike and Barbara, making the trip from the Bay Area to watch Greg pitch. They, of course, are very hopeful with the draft coming up. Greg will be very high position. Get that first pro contract signed, head off to whatever level the organization chooses.
We're going to have a fun 5 days. Get a chance to see their son pitch here in a regional. Tuesday is going to be quite a day for the Reynolds family. A lot of families here. Stubbs should go high in the first round. We'll see him in game 2.
Here's Still. John, the Wolfpack DH, single to right in the second. He's 1 for 1. So how about your draft day? What are your memories of being picked so early?
We were in Omaha. It was during batting practice. They pulled me off the field and told me where I'd been drafted. But it's from a baseball standpoint, I think personally that there's nothing you can really compare it to. I mean, it's something you've thought about for so long and put so much work into. And the minute they finally tell you, hey, somebody took you, and especially if it's a spot that you wanted to go, it's pretty exciting. Throw that in the fact that it was in Omaha and I was at home. It was a pretty special day.
Little check swing there from Still, fouled off. So those are the days where the draft was held during the College World Series.
Right in the
you were
middle
competing
of it.
for Stanford in Omaha at Rosenblatt Stadium when you heard the news about the Brewers draft pick.
I like it the way they do it now. Kind of when there's no games going on before the College World Series. Kind of in the middle of everything. For anybody, especially for a college kid, it's tough to keep your mind on all of the right things. I like to separate a little bit like they have now.
1-2 pitch called strike 3. Greg Reynolds, second strikeout. Still goes down looking. All Stanford, 4 complete from Austin. Four teams from the Pac-10 made the NCAA field of 64. Oregon State, the regular season champs. They are hosting a regional in Corvallis, along with Arizona State, UCLA, and the Stanford Cardinal. More college baseball coming your way. Today on ESPNU, the regionals. Those are the seed numbers you see from the regionals. Texas Arlington did beat Texas one head-to-head game, but Augie Garrido's Horns start their defense of the championship later today. San Diego, Fresno State, St. Louis, Cal State Fullerton from out of California. All coming your way as well. Jason Duncan will stay out there for NC State. Pretty good job in relief of Gib Hobson. A slow start for Elliott Avent and NC State in this regional, but it is a double elimination format. Wolfpack cannot rally here. They will drop to the loser's bracket and play tomorrow. Second loss means you're out and the season is over. A lot of baseball, a long way to go, even as a winning team if Stanford hangs on here. Leadoff hitter Chris Lewis, striking the outside corner to the senior. Nice meeting yesterday with Chris, a thoughtful senior. He and Meinecker make quite a combination up the middle. Middle infield for the Cardinal.
Comfortable with each other in a spot where you like to know what the guy next to you is going to be doing. You see the improvement every year for Lewis, a career high in RBIs this year, but 2 seniors at second and short. It's been a big advantage for the Stanford club this year.
Both of the Chris's had a nice summer last year, to say the least. They played in the Hawaiian League for the Waikiki team, 4-team league where every day they went to the beach and then to the ballpark. Not bad. Strike 3 call. Boy, tough day for Lewis at the plate. He's been struck out 3 times. And there's one down in the 5th.
Consistently going away from Lewis today. The first time it was a slider away that got him. The last 2 have been fastballs out away. Both looking. This time left-hander Duncan freezes him on a ball that might have been a little bit outside, but at a 2-strike count, it's one where you have to be protected.
Castro takes the ball outside and high. That's the freshman, Red Sox 43rd round draft pick out of high school. Well, Kyle, a player like that, 43rd round, pretty easy decision to go to college because you know you can get toward your degree and also probably earn quite a bit of money on the pro baseball ladder. But there are some picks like a Drew Stubbs, who's a 3rd round pick out of high school. Foul back there by Castro. It's not that easy a decision to make.
No, and you know, you see some situations, and whether Castro was that or not, where guys are drafted real late, but in the end a team will come and throw a lot of money at them. I mean, they don't want to waste an early round pick on it, but they'll take a chance late to see if, you know what, if we give them whatever dollar amount they were saying, then maybe we can get them to sign. Castro was potentially that guy, and you'll see that a lot of high school kids that are headed to college, especially a place like Stanford. Teams don't think they can buy him out of their education, but they'll take a chance in the 40th, 41st round because it's a spot where you're probably not going to get a guy that's going to help you at the major league level right away anyway.
Two-two pitch. Just missed off the outside corner.
See Caleb Mangum back behind the plate, and that time he kind of set up in and then moved outside for that two-strike fastball from Duncan. A lot of times a hitter can kind of sense that. Mangum kind of doing the same thing to where he jumps one side and goes to the other. You have an idea of where that pitch is going to be.
Full tap foul. But getting back to the draft situation, it's always unique in baseball because you have that pro draft out of high school. Again, potentially after your third year, and again after your fourth year. You can be drafted 3 times.
And potentially you could be drafted in junior college. Could even be drafted 5
That's
times.
right.
Because every year in junior college you can be drafted.
Big swing and a miss. Off-speed delivery there from Duncan. And the 10th pitch to Castro.
Big hitter, number 17, John Hester.
Heard Elliot Avent talking about Duncan earlier, and he's really done his part so far. I mean, you want him to go as far as you possibly can, but the big thing is put a couple zeros up so it kind of stabilizes this game. It's exactly what Duncan's done so far.
Check swing foul off the bat of John Hester. Single and scored in the second when the Cardinal for Mark Marquis plated 4 runs. Flew out to right as well in the third. Line drive on the move. Nice catch. Corona. A sophomore second baseman from Miami, the neighbor of Alex Rodriguez. What a great story that is. NC State baseball team got to meet A-Rod. We'll tell you about that throughout the broadcast. Nice play by Ramon there. Still, it's all Cardinal. NC State down by 5 here. First game of this Austin Regional. Each team guaranteed 2. Our game summary to this point. 4 runs pushed across by Mark Marquis and the Cardinal in the second. Askew had the big 2-run double. Gib Hobson, the veteran right-hander, one of the best all-time NC State pitchers, had some trouble early. Inning and a third, but as Elliot Avent, their head coach, told us, he will be back later in this regional. No reason to burn the arm out when he's not had his best stuff early in a double elimination format.
Elimination being the key right there. It's ideally you'd like to win 1, and the big advantage is winning the first 2 because it allows you to potentially play less games. You don't have to use that pitching staff. The bottom line is you're not leaving until you lose 2, and it doesn't matter when it is. So if you lose game 1, there have been plenty of teams that have come back to advance out of a regional.
Ryan Aragon will lead things off for NC State. Walked on a 3-2 pitch in the second. Stanford star ready. Greg Reynolds. Folks in attendance here today. Chance to meet Greg as well yesterday. Another well-spoken Stanford player. Surprise, surprise. Great academic standards, as Kyle well knows. Sewell tracks down that ball for his intelligent pitcher, Greg Reynolds.
Well-spoken and comfortable, too. I mean, that's kind of one of the neat things about getting everybody in one room. You get a chance to talk to everybody. And these guys were really comfortable yesterday, especially kind of given what has happened over the course of the season. They have had their ups, they have had their downs, but it was a team that really felt like they were confident, especially behind this guy. And Reynolds shows you why today. He's been in total control.
Sure has. And the single is still as Pond hits here. Goes back in the second. Aragon walked on a 3-2 pitch and nothing since then, right?
I think just as importantly, too, that last fly ball to Sewell was his first fly ball out of the ball game. He struck out 2, but everything else has been ground ball outs. And that's the big thing for Reynolds. And one of the tough things with a guy 6'7" is to get everything clicking at the right time and have that downhill playing, which causes a lot of ground balls. He's been real good at that so far today.
Had excellent control as well. 2 walks. The last was the Aragon back in the second. Also Camp to lead off the game. Pond takes a strike. The left fielder actually hit for the cycle. First time in NC State baseball history since the Jimmy Carter administration. Remember that? 70s?
No, I don't remember.
Call on strike 3. as Pond goes down. Well, that game against Longwood May 6th was the first Wolfpack cycle since the 70s. An 18-4 win. Pond unable to get anything going here, as has been the case with his teammates as well. Here's Mangum, the catcher. Reynolds consistent, Kyle, as you talked about, but not overpowering, really.
No, he's not. But I think the key to Reynolds, and we were talking about with him yesterday, is he's come to an understanding that you don't have to throw it by everybody. Contact isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially contact early in the count. It keeps that pitch count down. A lot of times it allows you to pitch a lot more. That's a big step for a pitcher to know that here's a two-seam fastball, beat it in the ground. You don't have to try to get swings and misses every time you throw a pitch. There's times if you're ahead 0-2 and you get a guy to swing and miss, great, but you get a one pitch out, it makes for a lot quicker ball game out there on the mound.
Caleb Mangum. Catcher for NC State, grounded to second. First appearance, fires that one into the mitt. John Hester, another strikeout, second of the inning for Greg Reynolds. He is on a serious roll, the junior right-hander. Trying to improve that draft status in addition to bringing the Cardinal to a victory here. So far, both goals accomplished. 5-0, Stanford the lead. Welcome, everyone. Capitol Building, just right around the corner from where we are here at Disch-Falk Field on the UT campus in Austin. Beautiful growing city. Getting up to almost 600,000 people, I'm told, here in Austin, Texas. And the celebration, in many ways, has not stopped since they won the Rose Bowl in January over USC. We'll talk with the Texas baseball players. They're the second game today. They'll take on Texas Arlington. And trying to compare the championship won by Texas football to baseball. They said, hey, we've had about 3,000 meet us at the airport, and that was great when we came back from Omaha last year. Nothing compared to football.
This is a football state. Football first and foremost. And they love their baseball, don't get me wrong. I mean, this Disch-Falk could be packed tonight to see Texas, but football first and everything else after that.
Against Duncan, Molina will lead things off for Stanford. Up by 5. Striking the outside corner. That is sack bunt in the second. Single to center in the third. It's only one game here, Kyle. I know it's not over yet, but this does not look like a team in Stanford that has struggled much of the season. Losing record of the Pac-10.
Losing record in the Pac-10 and offensive numbers. I mean, as a club, they hit about 50 points high, or 50 points lower than NC State over the course of the year. But they look comfortable at the plate.
Bates will not get there in time. Nice hustle by Molina to get down the line. That is one of those base hits you can take off this turf and off the plate there, as the ball was airborne. And really nothing the helpless fielders could do. Wait for the ball to come down.
No, I mean, you just standing there hoping it gets to you a little bit quicker than you think. This extra hop right here is really what cost NC State. The minute that ball takes the second hop, the pitcher Duncan can't get there in time to get it on the first hop, and Molina's able to beat it out for a single. But it's just there'll be times that turf helps you, especially it'll give you better hops up the middle, but there's times it'll hurt you defensively. That time it does for NC State.
Rappaport bunting here, fouls it off. Jim, 2 RBI double to right center back in the second. And Ricardo pushed across 4, also grounded out. A nice play by Bates to end third inning for Stanford. So Molina's good day continues. A sack, bunt back in the second, and 2 hits for him. That was ruled an infield hit. Rappaport's numbers on the rise. Perhaps the fact that Stanford is young, not putting a lot of pressure on themselves to win this regional, helps relax them a bit. And players like Rappaport, who has struggled this year, hitting .239 coming in, or putting better hacks on the ball.
I think it helps too that in a way you're kind of looking at it as new life. I mean, we talked about it earlier, but it really does allow you to relax. I mean, we went 1995, we went into a regional as a 3 seed, and there wasn't anybody there that expected us to win it. We had 35, 36 wins. Wichita was the 1 seed. We ended up winning the thing and kind of surprised everybody. Because of just that, you kind of come in and there aren't expectations on your shoulder. Everybody's kind of looking at you saying, all right, you're on borrowed time. Well, sometimes that's when guys played the best, and that's kind of the way they've looked today.
Hit pretty well right field, pretty deep. Aragon gives a look off the wall. Molina is held at third. Another blast for Rappaport, his second double of the day. Ripped to deep right center. And the Cardinal in business again. 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out in the 6th.
Stanford really getting it done top to bottom of today offensively. That the 11th hit of the day, the second by Rappaport out of the 9-hole, and the second double to almost the exact same spot. This one off the bat looks like he's going to have a chance to carry out. We talked about the size of Dishfalk and the fact the wind, the little wind that there is blowing in right now, probably kept it in the ballpark. But talk about comfortable swings. Rappaport's shown us a couple today out of that 9-hole.
Well, as Coach Marquis told us yesterday, Rappaport a leadoff hitter much of the season. Speaking of leadoff, top of the order here for Sewell. He is 1 for 3 so far. Flew out to center, struck out looking in the 1st and 2nd respectively. Also a single to center. I'll talk about 11 hits for the Cardinals. Just 1 for NC State today. And that hit him. He was really well over the plate in his stance, and the batter's box. That's exactly what Elliott Avon's going to come out to talk about with the home plate umpire, Daryl Mason.
He's going to make sure that it didn't hit the knob of the bat, too. Watch those hands go forward. You can see where that ball hits. It does get him on that right wrist, but the sound sometimes, it'll make it sound like it comes off the knob of the bat. Obviously, if it hits the knob of the bat, it's like hitting any other part of the bat. It's a foul ball, but that's the right call by Daryl Mason back behind home plate. It got him right below the right wrist. Stanford will have the bases loaded with nobody out.
Wow, big trouble here. Molina at third, Rappaport at second after his double. Now Sewell at first base, and the Cardinal 11 base hits already. 10 of their last 13 games in double figures. And that number may be on the rise shortly here. Here's Eskew's got 2 hits himself. Meinecker in the 3 holes got 2 base hits. Taylor's driven in a couple runs with a base hit in the cleanup spot. Cardinal looks very comfortable at the plate today. They've looked so since really the first at bat against Hobson.
Talk about being comfortable at the plate too, and why is that important? I mean, when guys hit the best is when they're not in too big of a hurry.
Nice play by Magnum to keep the ball within reach. And the runners all stay aboard.
When a hitter kind of allows his body to work, his hands to work, wait and see where the ball is, and you don't see a hitter really jumping at the ball, that's when guys will have the most success. And that's really what it looks like from these Stanford hitters today. They just look comfortable. They don't look like they're in a hurry at all at the plate.
Askew single and scored in the 1st. Single and scored in the 2nd, also had an RBI. That wild put out where Camp dove on a fly ball. Couldn't come up with it, but had a force out at second base. Fouled straight back. One-two pitch. Foul back. NC State has bullpen action going. Duncan in a real hole here. Bases loaded, nobody out. Already a 5-0 game. 1-2 to Askew. Nice play by Mangum. Saved his team a run a couple times here in this at bat.
It's a big, big point in the game for NC State, too, and for Duncan. 2-2 count with the bases loaded and nobody out. 5 runs NC State could potentially come back, but if this gets any bigger with the way Reynolds has been throwing, that makes it tough.
Called strike 3. Big strikeout for Duncan. Askew goes down looking. Yeah, there's one down here in the 6th with the bases loaded.
Spot to go to the breaker ball, especially left on left in that 2-2 count. Just the reaction of Askew when he sees his curveball. You see that back kind of straighten up, and that's when you know as a pitcher that you've got him. Breaking ball over for a strike, a huge strikeout for the Wolfpack, and I think that might be it for Duncan.
Impressive job in relief for Jason Duncan. who came in for the starter, Gib Hobson, who struggled early. Another pitching change for NC State. We'll tell you about the new right-hander out there for the Wolfpack when we come back. 5-0 game. All Cardinal still have the bases loaded in the 6th. $5-0 Cardinal. First game of the Austin Regional. Texas and Texas Arlington will be the next game here in Austin. Stanford, the bases loaded with one down. A brand new pitcher on the mound is right-hander Travis High from Kernersville, North Carolina, the Wesleyan Academy. 6'2", 195, the righty. Done a nice job in relief for Elliott Avent this year. His 23rd appearance, 19 in the 3rd innings coming in. Tough spot, Kyle, to enter the game here.
Absolutely. Bases loaded, really. Absolutely no room for error. High, though, has been good with base runners so far this year. He's stranded 20 of the 30 that he's inherited over the course of the year. And kind of a matchup guy. You see, just 19 of the 3rd innings in 22 ball games. So a lot of times he's brought in for a situation like this. They bring him in to face the right-hander in Meinecker with another right-hander on deck. You might just see him try to get NC State out of this inning. Then they'll turn to another arm.
Molina, Rappaport, and Sewell aboard here. From Meinecker, the dangerous 3-hole hitter for Stanford. First ball swinging, lost that to pretty deep right. Aragon drifting toward the line, catches it in fair territory. Runners will try to advance. 2 of them will. And on the play, Molina scores on the sac fly, make it 6-0. As Meinecker gets the job done, another run in for the Cardinal. Rappaport on the plate to get to 3rd base. Sewell back to 1st. So 2 down runners at the corners for Big Michael Taylor. Taylor's had a nice day, a couple of RBIs already. Sewell chased back by Travis High. So 2 hits and an RBI for the 3-hole hitter Meinecker. Taylor takes a strike. Meinecker, Lewis, and pitcher Reynolds we met with yesterday, talking so much about senior leadership and how the team had to find itself. It appears they have the correct identity here today. Looking pretty good.
I think they've found it. Good time to find it, too. 3 or 4 weeks of the season, they've really started playing better. It's carried over to today.
Diaz to Corona, nicely done. However, another Stanford run across. 6-0, Cardinal in control. Nothing Stanford. And Reynolds has been a big story, the right-hander for the Cardinal. 4 complete games already this year. En route to perhaps another one. As you talk about, Kyle, it's the breakdown with a ground-out fly-out that you're so impressed with.
That's when you know that 2-seam fastball is working, getting a lot of sink, and that's what'll get you ground balls. This one, a big one that gets him out of the 1st, and another one. Ground ball back to him in the 2nd inning. That got the first 2 outs, and since then, Reynolds has been in total control. Worked a perfect 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and struck out 4 over those 3 innings. So really come into his own after that 2nd inning, but consistently keeping the ball down in his zone, which is something Mark was talked about being so important to Reynolds over the course of this ball game.
Diaz leads it off against Reynolds. Home 6th here for NC State, down by a 6 spot in the first game. Double elimination format for all teams here. 4 at the regional. The push bunt there from Diaz toward first base. Reynolds got a hustle. Great coverage there. Lewis, did he get him? Yes! Chris Lewis. Unbelievable play at second base for the senior, who covers the bag beautifully, grabs it barehanded in time to get the speedy Diaz.
We're talking about not taking your at-bats out into the field. We're talking about Lewis struggling so far today with 3 strikeouts. But this is a big-time play from a second baseman. It's only from big-time hustle that allows you to make this play. He barehands it, gets there in time, and there's no chance that Reynolds is going to be there to make the play. The only play is to flip it to the second baseman, Lewis. He's there in time, and that was a huge play by the senior second baseman.
Nice look from our crew there at the intensity of Diaz hustling up the line there, trying for that base hit. Drew Martin for 1, so the roll continues here for Reynolds. We talked about the 4 complete games for the last 5 starts. He has gone CG, complete game, but has actually lost a couple of decisions. UC Davis and UCLA. Game against the Bruins May 19th. So maybe the record deceiving, Kyle. 6-5, a 3.47 ERA coming in for Reynolds.
I think a lot of times record for pitchers can be the most deceiving thing out there. I mean, a lot of times records dependent on offensively what happens behind you. If you don't give up any but you don't score any, obviously you're not going to get a win. And that's why sometimes it doesn't tell the whole story. When you see Reynolds today, and you understand why so many pro scouts are excited about him. When he's doing things like this, he's real easy to project into the big leagues.
Drew Martin, mismatch there. Ball got away from Hester. Chalk up another strikeout for Greg Reynolds. The road to Omaha continues. Baseball Super Regionals. You can catch all the action from the 8 sites on ESPN and ESPN2. The action starts June 9th at 1 o'clock Eastern for all the official results of every NCAA National Championship, including a complete recap of the College World Series. Go to NCAAsports.com, your home for all 88 NCAA championships. Been on that website a couple hundred times lately, haven't you? I know I have.
Gives you all the stats.
Oh, man.
A game tracker of all the games going on across the country. It really allows you to follow everything.
Cross championships last week. Big crowds in Philadelphia for that national semifinal. 49,000, Kyle, at the lake in Philly on Saturday. Here's Camp, goes the other way. Meinecker at short. Nice job in the hole to glove it. But it'll be infield hit certainly for Matt Camp. His first of the day. Second hit, that's into the afternoon for NC State. Who's next? Those Horns are next. And Augie Garrido, they start their defense of a national championship. The batting cage stretching out down the left field line. Rainy day here yesterday. Teams did not get much of a chance to hit outside. Did some work in the cage, but thunderstorms throughout most of the day to avoid that BP possibility. Which, if you're Texas, no big deal. But the visiting teams on the new turf surface, that could be a tough adjustment.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think the biggest thing is defensively and not offensively. It's how the ball bounces off the turf. How, from an infielder standpoint, bounces when it gets to the dirt as opposed to the turf. How it comes off of the fence in the outfield. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't really tell unless you've been on that field. And it really limited a lot of clubs yesterday to maybe see some things. We'll see what affects Arlington in game 2.
Breaking ball taken for a strike against Reynolds by Corona, the neighbor of Alex Rodriguez. Up the middle, it's a base hit. Back-to-back hits, third of the day for NC State. Well, earlier this season, a surprise visitor to the NC State campus. This was something else. February 4th, how about that? Alex Rodriguez, the neighbor of Ramon Corona. This was set up through Ramon's parents, who are very good friends with A-Rod. No one knew on the NC State campus except for a couple of people in the sports information office and Coach Elliott Avent. A 1-hour talk in the clubhouse, and the players said they were glued to A-Rod. They couldn't believe his intensity and how genuine he was, and players took notes. They learned so much. The opportunity to listen to Alex Rodriguez.
That's cool. That's neat to see somebody like Alex go in, and I mean, think yourself back in college to see somebody who's absolutely one of the best in the game that takes that much time to come in and talk to you at your own ballpark, hang out, talk baseball. That is really, really neat of A-Rod to do.
He bought a brick with the walkway leading up to the ballpark, donation to the NC State baseball program. Filmed a TV commercial for NC State baseball. I mean, he was there the whole day, very active. And we saw him with all that gear. Unforgettable day for Elliott Avent at NC State. He said A-Rod's eyes, just watching the intensity which he spoke that day to his team, was incredible. 2-0 to Bates. Takes a strike. So it's not bad if your starting second baseman has a famous neighbor like that to come by once in a while. Chat to the team.
Have the neighbor drop by and say hi. Oh, by the way,
Here's the
he's one of
American
the
League
best in the
MVP.
game.
2 on, 2 out. NC State, big swing and a miss. Bates grounded into a double play in the first. Grounded out to short in the fourth. He's over 2. Difficult time for Aaron Bates. Lost his father. Very close out in California. Unsure whether or not he'd come back to play for NC State this year. Up the middle again, same old story. Camp is going to be waved around third base. Got great speed. He'll score without a throw. NC State is on the board for the first time in this regional. Bates the RBI base hit. Third straight single on the inning for the Wolfpack at 6-1.
It's been an approach from the top of this order here. Now 3 straight 2-out hits for NC State to get their first run, but it's been a real simple approach. Not trying to do too much of the plate. 3 ground ball hits. This one up the middle as Corona's was earlier, but I think it's an approach for an Avents club right here to not try to do too much, not try to get 6 runs back with one swing, and kind of stay to the approach and hit it up the middle. And now back-to-back singles as the Wolfpack on the board.
Bates started his career at San Jose State. His father, Mark, suffered a fatal heart attack. They were very close, those two. Difficult time for Aaron. But he comes through the big base hit here for his team. First run of their regional. And now John still at DH. Single to right. Back in the second, struck out looking in the fourth. He's 1 for 2. Junior faces Reynolds here. Saw the first sign of frustration on the face of Reynolds after the third straight single up the middle there. Off the bat of Bates.
One of the hardest things about a ground ball pitcher too is it's great when they're hit at somebody, but when they're up the middle like that, ground balls can fall in for hits, and I think that's what's frustrating out there. A lot of times you make the pitch you want, you get the ground ball, but it's not at somebody. It's up like NC State did this inning with 3 straight singles. To Still.
Lifted foul ground. Castro puts it away. Still pops out, but NC State, thanks to the base hit from Corona, and Bates has a run. New pitcher for NC State as we hit to the top of the 7th inning here at Austin. Stanford a 6-1 lead in the opener. Brandon Knapp sees his first appearance in this NCAA tournament. 9 games so far for the lefty here, Kyle.
9 games and 1 start for Knapp. That was earlier in the season. A JUCO transfer from Midland Junior College here in Texas. Chance to pitch close to home. He's an Amarillo native. Just like the last guys, ideally if they get Knapp to go the rest of the way. And talk about when they brought the right-hander, probably just in for a couple hitters. Now Knapp, he's in there for a little bit longer. They'd like to save the rest of that bullpen today if they can. His job to put zeros up and see if this offense can't put some runs on the board.
He'll face Lewis to lead things off here, 7th inning for Stanford. It's been a very tough day for Chris Lewis at the plate. Struck out swinging in the first, struck out looking in the second, and in the 5th, 0 for 3. As Kyle made a great point earlier on that fine defensive play, dazzling player than Rob Diaz of the bunt hit. When you're out in the field, you forget all about those ABs. Just concentrate on defense. Chris has a lot to do with the late season resurgence for Stanford. Trying to get the younger players on the same page as the veterans and just get it to come together. Well, Chris won't strike out this time. Lifted a pretty deep right center field. Camp on the move and puts it away. Matt Camp tracks down that ball in deep right center. And Lewis 0 for 4. First out of the 7th.
Moves down on the fly ball, but go back to the dugout, at least in a situation like this, and feel good about the swing. 3 strikeouts coming in. This ball's hit well, but look at the run by Camp out in center, right in front of the warning track. And again, we talk about the size of Dish Fog. Now 2 or 3 balls that Stanford has hit would carry out at most ballparks that have stayed in. 2 of those have ended up out.
405 to the alley there in right center. Castro, first ball swinging. Put away by Diaz in short left field. 2 down in the visiting 7th. Coming from Dish Fog Field. Larger ballparks around. Austin, Texas Regional. Dave Ryan, Kyle Peterson, our entire crew with you for the whole weekend. 6 broadcasts for sure for you, possibly a 7th if necessary. And Greg Reynolds, big story. 5 strikeouts for the future first-round pick from Stanford. Draft coming up soon. He could be a top 5 pick. Kester singled and scored in the 2nd. Very good day for Reynolds. How much longer would you go with him, Kyle?
Well, I think it's all dependent on pitch count. And the one thing is, he's since the first 2 innings, and I think after 2, he was at 32, but he's done a real good job of keeping that pitch count down. 2 things go into that. 1, he hasn't struck out a ton of guys, but 2, he's getting a lot of outs early in the count. At this point, I think you can expect to see him in there for the rest of the ball game.
Hit on a line by John Hester, but right to Matt Camp, who was a busy inning. 6-1, Card on the lead. Those folks who come from California have to be pretty pleased. Greg tells us he's a huge Giants fan, and yes, he did celebrate when Barry Bonds broke Babe Ruth's home run record. So the guy should be a Hall of Famer no matter what he may have done to get there. Reynolds, a Hall of Fame type effort today, certainly for Stanford. He's been brilliant. Pitch count pretty good, 84, Kyle.
No, it is. It's fairly low, especially given the fact he threw 32 in the first 2. Since then, see that pitch count good for the last 4 innings. It rose a little bit due to those back-to-back hits in the 6th inning. But the thing about Reynolds that I've been the most impressed with is just how comfortable and controlled he looks out on the mound after that visit from Tom Kunis back in the 2nd inning. Just everything seems to be clicking for him. He's not trying to do too much, and what all those guys sitting back behind the plate today want to see.
Leading off for in the bottom of the 7th inning, right fielder number 18, Ryan Herrera.
Pretty good durability for Reynolds deep into games. Saw a couple scouts watching Greg throw the bullpen just prior to the game today. So they are here. You got a potential pick that high. Ball clubs are going to send their top scouts to make sure he's the real deal.
I bet there's clubs that probably have 2 or 3 here based on where he's going to be picked.
Seventh inning here for NC State. Oregon leads it off. And walked on a 3-2 pitch in the 2nd. Flew out to center in 5th. One so far, little chopper. Here's Reynolds. Makes a nice play, 1-0.
We've talked about ground ball outs with Reynolds and really how good of a job he's done at keeping the ball down. But what I like too is how he's brought the fastball inside and outside. He hasn't lived on one side of the plate or the other, and that's what you see right here with Aragon. Started away and then pounds that fastball in, and really defensive swing from Aragon. When you got a guy throwing low 90s, then he can work both sides of the plate. We've already seen the big breaking ball and changeup from him. It's tough as a hitter to stand up there and have any idea what's coming. And you see it right now with these NC State offensive players.
Chris Engel pinch hit here for Elliott Avent in Ryan Pond's spot. See if Chris stays in to play left field. Kernersville, North Carolina. Perhaps a pinch hitter could fare a little better against Reynolds. Takes a strike in the inside corner. Angle, another player from the Wesleyan Academy. Up on the NC State roster from that school. It's 36 at-bats this year coming in. No homers and 3 knocks in so far for Engel. Takes a strike. Goes from the Winston-Salem, North Carolina area. 3 balls here in a count for Reynolds. That's unusual. First time since the 2nd inning that's happened. Talk about consistent strike zone coverage for Reynolds. Payoff pitch. Laced foul.
Engel, the pinch hitter here, gives Elliott Avon a left on right look. But the other thing that it does too is the patience and the way that he's worked this at bat is now getting that Reynolds pitch count up. It's now the 7th pitch of the AB.
7th and final for Chris Engel. Down he goes.
3-1 count, came back with the fastball. In fact, came back with 3 fastballs in a row. 1 for strike 2, 1 fouled off, and this one he throws right by Engel. And see what he needs it. Reynolds looks like he has a little something extra in that tank. That fastball reaching well into the low 90s today.
Mangum, first ball swinging, lost that one to center field. Sewell has it lined up, and that'll do it. 7 complete from Austin. It's all Cardinal today. Top of the 8th inning. It is all Cardinals 6-1 here. 11 hits, just 4 for NC State, and 3 of those, Kyle, came on back-to-back at bats in the 6th. Reynolds has been in control. 5 strikeouts, just the 2 walks, and certainly has looked like a top draft pick.
Lived up to the billing today. New left fielder. Engel pinch hit in the 7th. Now he'll stay in for Pond in left field. Kind of a last-minute decision by Elliott Avon today as to play Engel or Pond in left field. Went with Pond trying to get a little bit more offense. Now goes with Engel with a little different look later on in the game.
Impressive day for Reynolds, the big right-hander. Mark Marquis said his team played some pretty tough games late. And despite those losses to UC Davis, felt his defense and pitching was getting a little better. And really the momentum of the team had gone in the right direction. So despite that losing record for a long-time coach at Stanford in Pac-10 play, 11-13 in conference. Felt pretty good about the future. Has reason to believe that today, certainly. It's been backed up largely in part to Molina. Randy has got his 3rd hit of the day. Single up the middle, lead off the things in style for Stanford in the 8th inning.
It could be a funny game sometimes, and so many things in this game are contagious, be it offensive, pitching, whatever it might be. When you've got 1 or 2 guys that are really going, the rest of the club kind of picks it up. You see the success that Mark Marquis has had at Stanford, 20 Pac-10 championships, 5 trips to the College World Series via the Super Regional, 5 regional champions, 2 national champions back in 1987 and 88.
Big day for Rappaport as well in the 9-hole. Takes a strike in the inside corner. So it's Darrell Mason, our home plate umpire. The win today for Mark Marquis can tie him with Jack Stallings of Georgia Southern. A legend there in Statesboro, coached there for 39 years. 1,255 games. Tie him for 12th place all-time college baseball coaching win list. played for him. What has he meant for college baseball?
A ton. He's been a ton. I mean, the consistency is the one thing that sticks out with Coach Marcus. I mean, you know exactly what you're going to get, and I would think that the guys that played for him 25 years ago tell you the exact same thing. And he's so consistent in everything that he does, whether it's on the field or off the field. It's an approach that you see the first day of practice, and it carries over to his team. You see a lot of teams take on the personality of Mark Marcus.
12 trips in the College World Series. Incredible success there. 1-2 pitch, Rappaport. Inside. Talked to Marcus before the game. You watch how intense he is. He is very active, completely involved running this program. Just loves it.
He does love it. That's the biggest thing. He loves it, and that's why he's going to be there for a while. I mean, he hasn't lost any of the love that he has for it, that's for sure.
Flare up the middle, another hit for Rappaport, giving him 3 hits on the day, save from Molina. So what production from the 8-9 hole hitters for Mark Markowitz today. Rappaport a big day. 2 doubles, now the single in the 8th. And the Cardinal in business again here with nobody out in the 8th inning.
Truly are getting that second leadoff guy out of Rappaport today, doing it out of the 9 hole. We told you he had hit leadoff a lot of the time for this Stanford team, but he showed a little power too. I mean, almost took a ball out to right center earlier, doubled into gap in his first at bat back in the 2nd inning, but 6 hits out of the 8 hole and 9 hole hitters today for Stanford.
Top of the order, Ryan Sewell. Hit by pitch his last at bat in the 6th, also singled to center in the 4th. 1 for 3 so far. 13 Stanford hits in this regional opener. Elliot Avon, head coach, will come out to speak here with Knapp.
Saw Caleb Mangum heading out. Drew Martin headed out from catcher at third base. And I think this is a situation. You need that arm down in the bullpen to just have a little bit more time to warm up. Elliot Avon will stay out there as long as he can. Daryl Mason will make the short walk out. I think this will be it.
Kyle Rudder is warming up in the bullpen for NC State. And he'll make the change. So that'll do it for Knapp. Another pitching change for NC State. Stanford in business again offensively. 6-1 lead on the Wolfpack, the opener for the Austin Regional. Native of Miami, Florida, Kyle Rudder will be the pitcher here for NC State. He's a redshirt freshman from Palmer Trinity High School. Makes his 17th appearance of the season.
Great numbers on the season for the freshman. A sub-2 ERA and a little submarine approach out there as well. Brought in to face the right-hander Sewell in this situation, but the left-hander waiting on deck for Elliot Avon. Play the percentages right here. No doubt that from that arm angle, it is much tougher to hit it from the right side from the left, but now the 5th pitcher on today for NC State.
Decent job by Jason Duncan. He was the 4th pitcher. More on Rudder, yet another South Florida product. So plenty of that in the influence on this NC State roster today. Randy Molina led off this inning with a single to center. He's at second base, and Jim Rappaport also single to center. A little flare to left center field. He is now at first for Stanford. Six runs already across. Big inning the 2nd when they played it 4. Now Sewell. Looked like he was thinking bunt. One for 3 so far for him. He is bunting. That's foul straight back.
And everything's tougher when you've got a submariner from the right side. I mean, it's obviously it's tougher to hit her, but it's tougher to bunt too. I mean, the ball looks like it's coming from back behind you. Rudder in a plus count ahead 0-1. You can start to see that slider too, kind of that frisbee slider. It looks like it moves from the inside part of the plate to the outside part of the plate. But you can bet that bunt will be on again here for Mark Marcus.
And it is. Nice play, Bates. Throw to third is in time. Well done on the wheel defensive play. Diaz moves from short to third to cover, with Martin, the third baseman, charging in, and Bates gets the lead runner nicely.
Well, obviously the NC State defense knew the bunt was on. You see how close in Aaron Bates gets at first base, about 30 feet away from home plate, throwing the fact that it's turf, so it's going to get to him a little bit faster, and makes it a fairly easy play for the first baseman. But it's one of those where if you've got the ability to bring it back and swing, that could be one where everybody's running for days.
Here's Eskew. A couple of hits for him already today. Single and scored in the first. Single in a run, scored in the second. Last time up in the sixth, struck out looking. Runners stay at first and second, one down. Towards short. Diaz makes a nice play. Corona, they'll turn a double play. Nice defense by the Wolfpack, and runner gets out of any trouble after coming in with runners at first and second and nobody out. Middle of the eighth inning from Austin, the regional underway. Cardinal looking good, up by 5. Our double elimination format underway here from Austin, Texas. NCAA regional games. Stanford has a 6-1 lead on NC State. Coming up later today here at ESPNU, Texas Arlington against the top seed of this region, third national seed in Texas. The seed numbers you see there are of the particular region. Then at Fullerton, it's San Diego, Fresno State, St. Louis against the Titans. That's all coming your way on ESPNU today and tonight. College baseball NCAA tournament underway. Road to Omaha, 60th College World Series. Shortstop Diaz leads it off. Outside corner for a strike. Well, a good start to the inning for Reynolds. That's been his MO, Kyle, all day. Good starts to hitters.
Getting ahead of hitters and doing a lot of times with the fastball and controlling the fastball just like that. Another ground ball out for Reynolds, this time in on the hands of Jonathan Diaz. He has just commanded the zone with that fastball, and it's really set everything else up throughout the course of the day.
Extra sweet probably too for Reynolds because his good buddy was the starting pitcher for NC State today. Jim Hobson, they pitched together for the Bourne team, Cape Cod League last summer. Each were all-stars. And Greg told us what a great experience that was for him. Matt Mangino will be a pinch hitter here for NC State. He's a sophomore from Holly Springs, North Carolina. Hits for Drew Martin in the 9-hole. Ball outside. So for Reynolds, it seemed like a pretty big deal because he and Gib Hobson, we see the vitals on Mangini. Quite a few text messages to each other. Lifted a pretty deep left center field. On the move, Sewell still going back toward the wall. Can't make the play. It's off the fence. In deep left center, Mangini's taking 3, and he'll have a triple. That ball blasted by the pinch hitter. Matt Mangini hit that a long way.
Sewell, the center fielder in this one. One of the toughest things about an AstroTurf ballpark is the warning track. It's turf as well, and usually when you get a warning track, it's at least a different substance, so you can feel a difference. You know the minute that you're out there, but here at Dish Falk, it's turf as well, and so you really can't tell when you're getting close to the fence. There's no difference on the bottom of your feet. You see Sewell thought he had a little bit more room up there, reached up to make the play and ran into the wall, and Mangini's on there with a 1-out triple.
Top of the order for Camp. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Kind of unusual to see him sort of cruise for that ball. Didn't jump, didn't feel the fence there at all, and smack into it.
In a normal ballpark, I mean, if you get a grass park, you'll have some kind of a rock warning track or something else, and you can feel it right away in your spikes when you're there. But here on turf, you don't know when you're there.
Top foul by Camp. Infield single. And scored in the 6th, the only NC State run. So although it looks like that's a real dirt or a rock warning track, in fact, it's just turf, colored to look like it.
You know, you don't really think about it because when we're looking at it, you can tell. I mean, it looks entirely differently. But if you're running back to make a play, you're looking up at the ball. You're not looking down, so you can't tell the color difference in the outfield. You have to tell if there's some kind of substance difference, and there isn't. It's the same thing.
There are renovations coming. See the seams there. Good look from our crew in the warning track between the field surface and that warning track out there. Renovations after this season will be totally new look to Disch-Falk Field. Line drive base hit from Camp. Mangini will score the second run of the day for NC State. As Matt Camp has his second straight base hit. It's an RBI. And the Wolfpack back on the board.
We're talking about Matt Camp off the top of the show and just how great of a season he's had. Now 2 straight singles. One back in the 6th, he came around to score a run. And this time it's a fastball that's elevated from Reynolds, and Camp shows you why he's had the numbers he has all through the course of the season. That is a perfect example of not trying to do too much. Up in the zone, just let the height of the ball carry it out to left for a single.
Talk about consistency. How about that? So the numbers on Camp. Corona right back up the middle, trying to do it for a second straight time. Reynolds, though, will start the double play himself and get out of trouble. Another run does score for the NC State Wolfpack, but still they're down by 4. 8 complete. We head to the 9th when we return to Austin. Stanford cruising. NC State and Elliott Avent, their head coach, will go with another pitcher here. It will be the 6th of the day. Joel Brookins will come in for the first time. Matt Mangini, also, who pinch hit, triple, and scored on the Camp single, will stay in at third base. Work behind the brand new pitcher, Joel Brookins.
A good situation for Elliott Avent because he gets a lot of different guys into the ball game, and now they've been on this mound, they've seen this stadium. So if they have to come back in at big spots over the course of this tournament, they've already been in. For Brookins, as Dave said, the 6th NC State pitcher of the game. Great ERA below 3. Opponent's average right at 210. If there is an advantage to this game for NC State and the pitching staff, is that they've had a lot of guys get in there, get a chance to get a feel of the mound and a feel of the environment. Sometimes that makes a big difference.
There's lights out for Stanford when leading after 8 innings. I assume NC State doesn't know that. If they do, they don't care right now.
So they don't want to know either.
Positive they can rally. Heidecker leads it off. As David Chris doubled to left field in the first, single to right in the second. Sac fly as well on RBI. This ball swinging here, lifted to left. Engel puts it away. So Mangini had that nice triple and scored, stays in at third base. It's a late inning defensive work in. Michael Taylor next up here. Another Cardinal. Good offensive numbers today. Ground out. RBI infield single. 2 knocked in for him. Outside corner. Kyle, I agree with you. Good chance for Elliott Avent to get a lot of players in. Just a feel for the atmosphere, knowing about what it's like to be in a game. So much pressure because it looks like they will face elimination next.
Yeah, and it makes a difference. I mean, when you've been out there, a lot of it is the backdrop for a pitcher. I mean, every ballpark you go in, the backdrop looks different. And sometimes it feels like you're throwing really hard and you're right close to the plate, and sometimes it doesn't. But it can be an advantage. If you're comfortable out there, then the ball comes out of your hand better. Things tend to happen in your favor over the course of the game. Once you've been out there, now you got a lot better feel of your surroundings.
3-1 to Taylor. He walked him. Be sure to log on at NCAASports.com, your home for all 88 NCAA championships. And official online home for the 2006 College World Series. College baseball tournament. 64-team field is underway. Got that website bookmark. It's the default browser for me. on the high speed. Right to it. Don't waste any time.
You're not speaking my language anymore now. We start talking default browsers.
That's about all I know.
I know how to type it in, so I can get there.
Chris Lewis, a tough day offensively. He's 0 for 4. Did fly out pretty deep. It's his center in his last appearance in the 7th. Struck out 3 times. Just tell from speaking with Chris yesterday, incredible passion he and Chris Meinecker, the shortstop, have for success for this program.
Yeah.
To get back to Omaha means a lot to these guys. This is his last go around, and early in the year when the team was reeling, he was as frustrated as anyone.
I think when you know it's your last season, whether you're a junior and you've got a pretty good feeling that you're going to sign, or obviously as a senior, when you're going to run out of eligibility, it gives you a little kick in the back that you otherwise wouldn't have had. And Elliott Avent on his way out again. If we had talked about the importance of getting guys into the ball game, he might be trying to get just one more in. About every pitcher that NC State traveled is going to have a chance to get out to the mound today. You can bet this is another trip he's going to take his time, and it could be a situation too to where he's trying to make Greg Reynolds sit as long as he can on the bench. I mean, you know, they're running out of time here. There's no doubt that Reynolds is going to come back out for the 9th inning, and so the longer you can make him sit, maybe try to frustrate him. Avent's thinking maybe that can help his offense in the bottom of the 9th.
Joey Cutler getting loose in the NC State bullpen, but he just got up a second ago. So Elliott Avent will stay with Joel Brookins. Saw Greg Reynolds a moment ago. Stanford star right-hander, could be a top 5 pick in the draft coming up. He has been great so far here at Disch Falk Field in Austin. Ryan Kyle Peterson, our entire crew. Texas, Arlington, and Texas, the next game here. This is a double elimination format, so if things stay as we have them now, Stanford advances to the winner's bracket. There, the Longhorns getting ready. They'll take on UTA next, the Mavericks, against the defending national champs. NC State will drop to the loser's bracket. That means tomorrow they play a loser's bracket game against the loser of Texas, Arlington, Texas. The loser of that game is out.
I'm with you.
Are you with me?
The whole time.
Okay,
I know
thanks.
where you're going.
Winner tie, right?
That's right. Exactly.
2-2 to Lewis. Taylor moving. Tap foul. Chris says his biggest moment prior to this year, hitting a home run in the Baylor Regional last year. Well inside. Count runs full to Lewis. Helped win a game against the Bears last year in that regional. Eventually Baylor, of course, won that one and the Super and made the College World Series. 3-2 pitch. Taylor going. Foul back.
Taylor's going to have a little talk with Lewis after this inning. It's about 90 degrees on the turf, and both times he's taken off to steal, Lewis has fouled it off. Lewis has struck out 3 times, usually a pretty good contact guy. That's why Mark was putting Taylor in motion there with a 3-2 count, just 1 out.
Michael sent back to first. Talked to Chris yesterday about his plans. Sociology major. He said, what plans beyond baseball? I'm playing pro ball. Rip toward third. High throw. Gets away from Bates. Mangini just into the game at third base. An errant throw. Taylor stays at second base. And runners at first and second now. 1 down on the bat. Toss there from third baseman Matt Mangini.
Well, it shows you too how the runner in action can totally change the course of a play. If Taylor's not running in this play, the throw easily goes to second place. There's an outside chance for him to turn 2, but instead Mangini has to go all the way across the field. A nice job of Bates just to keep that ball from going all the way down the right field line. There is a lot of room here if that gets by him. Bet that Taylor's going to come all the way to score from second base. We told you there was action in that NC State bullpen. Now Joey Cutler on his way in.
7th pitcher of the day for Elliott Avent. He's using that entire staff, as Kyle said. 6-2 game, Stanford a lead, looking to win the first of this regional. Redshirt freshman from Matthews, North Carolina, Providence High School. Joey Cutler, the Charlotte area, will make his appearance here in the regional. He's a right-hander at 6'1", 188, and makes his 11th appearance of the year.
See the numbers, and they are good. An ERA right around 2. Opponent's batting average below 200. And again, we see Elliott Avent trying to get as many guys in there as possible, especially now his top guys. Cutler, a guy that is going to figure in out of the bullpen in tight spots for NC State. So now he has seen this mound, and you hope he can get a little bit comfortable out there.
Seven pitchers on the day. Here's Castro, the first baseman. Walked and scored in that 4-run second inning for the Cardinal. Grounded out, struck out, popped out. 0 for 3 today. Slice foul. A few starters for Stanford without a hit. Good day from the outset for the Cardinal. They won the first. Toward third, Mangini bobbles. Did he get Taylor on the tag? Yes, toward first is not in time. Matt Mangini bounces back from the errant throw to the prior hitter to make a nice play. You get Taylor, the lead runner, for the second out of the ninth.
It's a good play by Mangini, and I mean, obviously the most important here is to get the lead runner. In this case, it's Taylor. Not a bad job of hitting by Castro either, trying to go the other way. Talk about the AstroTurf, and sometimes it can give you different hops. That one looked like it got on him a little bit quicker than he anticipated, but he stayed with it, got that lead runner, and just about doubled off Castro at first.
John Hester, the catcher, next. Fouls that first pitch straight back. Single and scored in the second. He is 1 for 4 so far today. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. Joey Cutler, yet another NC State pitcher. Winner of this regional will take on the winner of the Corvallis, Oregon regional. Oregon State, Hawaii, Kansas won the Big 12 tournament this year, and Wright State. The super regional round next. In the whole base hit. Lewis waved around. He'll score another run for Stanford. An RBI base hit from the catcher John Hester, his second hit of the day. 7-2 Cardinal.
Big hit for Hester and a big insurance run for Stanford. A little slider that hangs up in the zone. You know it's a hit. Dean Stotts, the third base coach, is sending Chris Lewis the entire way, but I'm not quite sure why Mangini cut this ball off. There's really no reason to cut it off. The runners weren't going to advance. They actually had an outside chance to get Lewis at home plate. His catcher Caleb Mangum kind of looked at him and couldn't quite figure out why he cut it off either, but Lewis scores, and 7-2 Stanford.
Randy Molina takes the ball outside low. Molina's had a nice day. A sacrifice bunt, a single to center. Infield single, scored a run. Single to center again. Wow, 3 hits. Quick throw to second, trying to pick off the runner, and they do get him. Caleb Mangum with a gun down to second base. Nicely done. Still 7-2 game. And Texas will be next up against Texas Arlington. The average attendance for the Longhorns this year, 5,429 fans. Those are big crowds in college baseball. And Greg Reynolds, a big-time effort here as he heads toward what would be a 5th complete game of the season.
103 pitches through 8 innings. That's a pretty low number. Reynolds has been doing a great job of keeping that pitch count down over the course of this ball game. 6 hits. Just 1 hit when he headed into the 5th inning. NC State had 3 2-out hits in 6th inning. Scored 1 there, scored another in the 8th. But for the most part, Reynolds has been total control.
Good for his 7th win of the year for Greg Reynolds from Pacifica, California, near San Francisco. Aaron Bates will try to lead things off here in style for the Wolfpack. An RBI single center in the 6th. One of 3 straight hits against Reynolds. And has another base hit, goes the other way nicely to lead off the ninth. Second hit of the day for Bates.
If you're NC State, that's what you need. You want that leadoff guy on, and you want to wait as long as you can to make that first out. Bates, talked about early in this ballgame, who offensively has been so consistent the whole year. Now singles in his last 2 at-bats.
D.H. John Still is next. 1 for 3 for him. Single to right back in the 2nd. Takes a strike. Fastball foul back. Quickly up 0-2 on Still. Well, Elliott Avent was worried about. Kyle started the game. Falling behind to a very good first-round caliber pitcher like Reynolds. And needing to rally against a guy like this could be tough. Little flare right field. Taylor on the way in makes a nice catch. And Bates is back.
It's tough to fight uphill like NC State has had to this entire game. They're down 5-0. But what's also hard about it is it also limits the amount of things that Elliott Avent can do. You're not going to run as much. You're not going to hit and run. You start to kind of play a little bit more station-to-station baseball because you don't want to run yourself out of any innings. And it's kind of changed the way that NC State had to play this ball game. It's a great offensive team, but it's great because they do a lot of different things. And when you're down 5 or 6 runs early, it kind of limits the amount of things you can do offensively.
Brian Aragon hitting for his coach Elliott Avent here. Walks on a 3-2 pitch in the 2nd. 109 pitches, 72 strikes so far in the game for Reynolds. He's been consistent. Ahead of hitters more often than not. He's fallen behind the right fielder Aragon. 2-0. 1 down in the 9th. Making 3-0. So now, Kyle, you're into the 110 pitch range. How about pitch count? And how long you go with Reynolds?
I mean, they're in a good spot right now from a pitch count standpoint. He hasn't thrown that many. He still looks to be strong in there. And Reynolds is their guy. He's going to finish this game unless something weird happens offensively for NC State. To me, he looks as comfortable as he has throughout the course of the game, and the ball still has pretty good sink when it's down. He doesn't look like he's laboring out there. Those are the things that I look for. Is he doing anything different mechanically? And he definitely hasn't here in the 8th and the 9th.
3-1 pitch in the outside corner. Count was full. 8 times in the game. 3 ball counts for Reynolds. He's been in command most of the way. Payoff pitch, runner going. Called strike 3, throw to second on a time. As Bates steals the base. But Aragon struck out for the first time today. And now Engel represents the last chance for NC State.
It's a command of the fastball back from a 3-0 count, and to spot that fastball down into a left-hander to strike him out shows you there's still plenty of the tank for Reynolds. That's a tough spot to throw to when you're tired because everything has to work. You really have to get extended to get that ball into a left-hander, and Reynolds definitely did right there for another strikeout.
Second at bat for Engel. There's a pinch hitter. Struck out, actually grounded back to the pitcher. Reynolds back is checked out, struck out swinging. That was in the 7th. 7 victims for Greg Reynolds today. Outside corner for a strike. 1 pitch. Just off the outside corner with a fastball. Engel, a versatile player, actually pitched a couple times this year. Two-way player. 19 games this season. Well, the third innings pitched. Here is a hitter. And it takes strike 2 call. Down levels at 2-2 to Chris Engel, a sophomore from Kernersville, North Carolina. Representing the last Wolfpack chance of the day. Two-two. Towards short. Meinecker with a backhand, long throw, in time. Picked nicely by Castro at first base, and that'll do it. Complete game victory for Greg Reynolds and Stanford. The Cardinal advances to the winner's bracket. They'll play the winner of UT Arlington and Texas tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern. And Greg Reynolds' family from San Francisco has got to be very pleased.
I don't blame them. They ought to be very pleased. A big effort for Greg Reynolds. Goes complete game, allows just 2 runs and punches out 7. But a big effort for the offense of Stanford, too. We talked about the difference between these two clubs. The biggest being the disparity between the two offenses. But Stanford put 7 runs on the board and 14 hits and wins game 1.
8 strikeouts, 7 hits. Reynolds outstanding today. 7-2 is the final. Stanford takes it. They're off to the winner's bracket here at the Austin Regional. Texas, Arlington, and Texas to follow. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Make sure to join us again at 4 Eastern, our second game, UTA and the Horns. Coming up next, it's the U. For Kyle Peterson and the entire crew, it's Dave Ryan saying so long. See you back here shortly. Now let's go to Mike Hall, standing by in the studio. Mike.